Hello and welcome everybody back for another episode of Triggering Chaos Presents Semi Perfect. I'm your host
Eh,
Soul, this is my co-host M, and we are back with our special guest Ice.
Hello.
I am
Greetings.
so confused right now. What franchise are we doing?
Triggering Chaos Presents Semi Perfect.
No, not that. The franchise inside this.
Oh, it vanished. I don't know. It was here a minute ago and then just kind of vanished.
Oh god.
Sometimes that happens. Titles can be slippery ones.
Yeah, they're like ninjas. Like, really vicious, vile, disappearing ninjas.
Oh. So yeah, we're apparently covering the Tenchu franchise, which let's see, I may have 20 to 30 minutes at most of connection to this franchise. So I'm just gonna be sitting going, yes, that must have been a thing.
Well, to me, I think this was actually a precursor to. I'm just gonna be a second.
Oh,
Milk.
the ninjas already got him. We're losing him.
So, Sol, did you happen to eat any rice balls? Because I heard there's something about dangerous about rice balls lately.
No, but I think this is the prelude to Metal Gear Solid, if I remember right. I think this came before it.
No.
No,
Really?
no.
Metal Gear was out on the original Nintendo.
I meant Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation.
No, that's heavily based off the MSX Metal Gear.
Yeah.
If anything,
no, I
this
meant
is probably
when the PlayStation one came out.
no. That
Yeah, I
was
know
all,
what you're saying, but the story was already written.
yeah, that
is
was
what I'm
always in
saying.
Kojima's head. If anything, this franchise probably owes more to the MSX Metal Gear than what you're
Eh,
thinking.
I'm probably thinking my years wrong then.
Yeah,
Either way, this was still the
especially
first real stealth game I got into.
I mean, they're both Japanese-based stealth games.
Yeah,
Stealth itself is a very interesting genre in video games. I could go into a long ramble why sometimes stealth was just easier to handle than combat, which is the entire reason we have Metal Gear.
yeah, you really did not want to do any combat in this series, especially
no, even in the later ones of the PS2 era.
Which, as a guy who really enjoys his stealth games, I like the sounds of that. I like when games commit to a theme. Like, one of my problems with some Metal Gear games is you could stealth around easily, but they also give you so much guns that at one point it doesn't matter.
yeah. 4 was really bad with that one.
I think that was the whole point of 4, wasn't it?
Well, 4 would they just wanted to make that a love letter to everyone, and it's like, hey, here's everything you wanted to do. We now have it for you in a nice little package.
So,
I just thought 4 was a movie with a lot of weird control interface for the Blu-rays.
Pretty much, that too.
okay.
So, is this game set in the feudal era of Japan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, paint me a picture. What is the franchise generally about?
You play as 2 ninjas of the Azuma clan that are loyal to Lord Goda. Now, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing any of these names. It's been years since I've heard them properly said.
For once, I can't correct Soul over his pronunciation. Ice, I leave that up to you.
No, it's kind of been a long time for me too, so I will botch them up just as much.
It's Soul. No, you won't.
He's got a point. But as these 2 ninjas, you are the only 2 surviving members of your clan. You know, for horrific backstory and all that fun plot. You served Lord Goda, the ruling of the whatever nation you're currently part of. What part of Japan that is, I've got no freaking clue. I don't think they ever stated it, but it's not important.
Mm-hmm.
And you do missions, whether it be searching for evil merchants, slave traders, getting information, defeating evil demon overlords. You know, the basic ninja shit.
Oh, so this is also not grounded in reality whatsoever.
Yes and no. It's one of those little in-between ones. Your movement is more based on more realistic like, but there are like spirits and some demons that pop up. Nothing like, say, Ninja Gaiden levels, but they are mentioned and you do see some.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not the main focus of the game unless it's a particular storyline. Then yes, there might be more demons than humans, but predominantly you're only dealing with humans.
Like the most I think was the third one where you had zombies, the end
Yeah.
boss of the series of each of the two, 1 and 3, if I remember correctly, and Onikage.
So, feudal ninjas with zombies. Got it.
Yeah, for the third game anyway, and one
So,
stage only. But
your stealth techniques work on humans as well as it does on demons. There's no major gameplay differences depending on what you're fighting.
no, there's really not.
Oh, good.
The only thing is that maybe demons might be able to detect you better, but not enough to be noticeable.
Okay.
Then again, this was one of the few games I actually played on the hardest difficulty after the first game because I just enjoyed it that much.
So basically, how I play Hitman.
Yeah.
I can't play Hitman on anything besides professional.
Yeah.
So
I kind of wish there was a setting between normal and professional, but that's just me.
So let's
I
get a look at
understand
the
that.
first game, shall we? This is the first one. This was on PlayStation.
Activision.
Yeah.
Yes, it is Activision, but this was the rare time when their games were actually good.
So they were probably more publishing it than producing it.
Oh no, this is back there in their producing era when they were
Mhm.
actually producing games, and the games they were producing, however, were actually worth the pen and paper that they were being written on.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow, that really takes you back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the
Then
reasons
again-
why I know this game's so old is because of one of those reasons.
Then again, I also remember some Activision titles on the SNES that were not worth their weight in salt, and they made those. So Activision was a very
Yeah.
interesting company back
Yeah.
in the day.
This is.
Yes.
I wish we had that Activision back, though.
I think a lot
You
of
and me
people do.
both. Yeah, this was back when they were good. You know, you heard Activision, you were like, "Oh man, I'm getting a decent title. I'm gonna enjoy the game." It was actually rare to get a game from any game company, be it American or Japanese, and you're just like, "Oh, I'm not gonna like this." No, you pretty much like the majority of games you came
Well,
across.
unless they had a rainbow.
Ugh.
Yeah,
I think we've all played an LGN game.
But I think we're getting just a
Yeah.
little off topic now.
Yes. So that's actually a pretty interesting box art.
Well, this
Yeah.
was the simpler days with this was the first Tenchu game, so it was a lot bare bones in a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't expecting like say Shakespeare or anything out of the story, but this was about as bare bone as it got for story.
Oh, okay.
The main thing
Oh,
was
wait,
to set you up to have a short stage, let you stealth through it, and then find other ways to kind of go through the level.
So each level was kind of like a little playground. You had to find your way around the best way to kill your targets stealthily.
Now you could do missions one of 3 ways. You could try and go straight out fighting, which I would not recommend, especially in the first one.
I see a giant word stealth there. I think I would not want that either.
You could stealth kill everyone in your way,
Mm-hmm.
or you could go for the major bonus and not be detected or kill anyone except your target.
Those are always fun bonuses.
Mm-hmm. And one of the
Yes.
things is that you got rewarded with better items to use in the stages next time, or you could replay the level and have the same items or better items, which we'll
Okay.
talk about later. But you
So
get
it was-
rewarded for doing better in the missions.
So it wasn't like you go from one mission to another. You could select to go back to a mission anytime you wanted to.
There is a story you have to go through, like you have to go 1, 2, 3. But once you complete that mission, you can go back to it whenever you want.
Oh, okay.
And
Yes,
if you
so-
go ahead, Dice.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say the lovely thing about the Tenchu series was replayability was always a thing because they knew the story wasn't long enough to say carry the game once and then you'd be done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they made it was like, oh, say you got just say you completed with a B rank, just throwing a rank out there,
Mhm.
and you might unlock a certain set of tools up to a B rank that are only they're only available though for that stage. Now you have to repeat this process. So there's say 10 levels in the game, then you have to replicate this 10 times. But it was adding more ways to deal with the stage, the environment, as well as your targets.
Mhm.
Because now, let's just say you usually can only stab your opponent. Well, now you might have a blowgun that will put them to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it now easier than your first run through.
Okay, just because it's what's on my mind, this really does sound like the modern Hitman games.
Yeah, it could
Yes.
it's why it's a precursor to me for a lot of stealth game incorporations.
Yes, I can understand why you think that.
Because I can't remember if it was the second one or the third one, but they started letting you start dragging bodies out of sight. The first game didn't let you do that,
I
but
want to say that was Wrath of Heaven.
that was the third one. I know for sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
Wrath of Heaven. They allowed you to start moving them because that's when they started introducing a slightly better AI, which I'm pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
they did a better job than. No, I'll say they got that from borrowing Metal Gear Solid, Sons of Liberty, because
Probably.
the enemies would respond to bodies or unconscious bodies in that game,
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
as
it
well
was.
as well as Hitman 2.
Yeah,
That also did it.
it was either Hitman 2 or Metal Gear 2 that first had the bodies don't just disappear, or if they don't disappear, they're just
Yeah.
unnoticeable
Yeah.
by the
Well,
other
I don't think
guards.
they disappeared in one. I just don't think the guards were ever close enough to really notice.
Okay, I've played some old stealth games where they will literally go on patrols walking over their friends' corpses, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
I don't think there was
I've
ever
played
enough
games like
guards to
that.
have that. Like, I think there was space enough that they never noticed them unless you ran them nearby. But I don't think they still noticed because they were chasing you.
well,
So
sometimes guards would be like two guards would be patrolling the same area going clockwise, and
yeah, I understand what you mean. I just
actually,
think
Yeah.
actually, I think the first game I ever did that was Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask with the Guru Pirates. But that game was not a stealth game at all.
no, that
Those
was not meant to.
immortal pirates was so good.
No, this was meant to
Which,
be an entirely stealth-based game.
yeah.
But like I said, the better you did in the missions, the better items you got, so you can do even better in the missions next time.
So for me to understand, if you got a B on mission one, the gear you got from that B rank are only for level one.
In the first game, yes, that changed. I
Okay.
think in the second one, I want to
Yeah,
say
then
by
it
then.
started. You were able to carry them over because they wanted you to now build up your arsenal
Hmm.
so that
Hmm.
you could actually get through them because they'll start throwing things at you that if you don't have that equipment, you're like, okay, that just made this a lot harder.
Yeah.
Like Wrath of Heaven, when you first start off the game and you have to kill the evil merchant, who's also he also was selling women into prostitution, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they did that a lot of the games with repeats with that story part.
Yeah, because this game is more or less mission based, like Hitman.
Mm,
Hmm.
So, this mission, kill the corrupt merchant that's selling women into prostitution. Next mission might be kill the traitor of your lord.
Hmm.
hmm
So it's different scenarios, kind of like Hitman in that
Yeah,
degree, where
this
it's
is
always
one
a
of the few
different
games
scenario.
that actually portray the ninja as what they were, stealth assassins for their lord or information gatherers for their lord. Like
Yeah,
everything they do is for their lord and
yeah,
the kingdom.
most situations I know ninjas weren't actually assassins; they were more spies,
Mm,
but they would kill if need be.
Yeah, the ones that actually did more of the killing, a little
Mm.
funny story, were the Kanochi.
Yes.
The
hmm
female ninja was the
Hmm.
one that actually did the majority of the killing, not the male.
Hmm. Reasons actually behind that, from what I understand, is usually you would expect the woman to be the spy and you'd expect the man to be the assassin, but the ninjas generally flipped that around for safety
Yes,
reasons.
they
Well,
did it for safety reasons, and it was easier for a woman to
Hmm.
get close to their
I was just
target,
about to say that. Yeah.
and as soon as they get word, they X them out.
hmm
Exactly, yeah. And you're less likely to think, oh, that guy's clearly going to kill me, so I will be cautious around him. But women can't be monks. I'll just talk to that monk and get my mind off things. And the monk
hmm
is a ninja gathering information.
Yeah, because
So
they would. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's generally how it worked. The ninja was all from my understanding. I could be very wrong. Was often about flipping expectations on its head because one of the things about Japan is its very caste system in the feudal era was so doggedly rigid that the very notion of being different was not possible to some people.
Well,
That's
Yeah,
actually still somewhat of a problem with Japan today.
yeah.
yeah, they still have that issue now,
Yeah,
and
which is one of the reasons why I love Persona 5 so much is all about breaking that caste system of kids aren't allowed to complain to adults.
Yeah. The other thing about a ninja is using everything to your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Like a farmer's tool, a stick. If it
Yep.
was useful to you, use it.
The
Honor was
traditional,
not the biggest thing with them. They
yeah,
did what they needed to do to complete the job.
media's
Yes.
traditional weapons of the ninja are anything but the actual weapons of the ninja.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't until later that certain weapons and all became glorified from ninjas.
Yeah, because
Which, from what I know about ninjas, a lot of that was actually them spreading rumors like, "Oh, hey, yeah, we totally use ninja stars. I'm not going to kill you with this old farmer's hoe."
yeah,
There was one tool they had, and it
Yes.
was interesting usage. So if you watch a lot of anime or movies, or even play video games, besides Tenchu, because Tenchu didn't do it, you always have the I I don't care for the anime myself, but I'll use it because it's in reference to what I'm talking to. If you watch Naruto and you see how they do, like, Naruto will do the shadow clone jutsu.
Hmm.
Well, that was a thing that was being reported on, that, hey, I'm seeing multiples of the same person
Yep.
or the same ninja. Well, it's because they were actually throwing a hallucinogenic
Hmm.
cloud in your face, which you're breathing in,
Yep. I've
and
heard
it
of it.
messes with your sight, so
Yep.
you're now seeing four, even though it's really just the one person
I
there.
would also like
Or
to add on to that, Ice. There's also another reason for that.
Hmm.
That's why a lot of ninjas, when they worked in teams, all wore the same uniform.
yep.
That is another thing. Yes.
And
Yeah.
what they
It was
did
usually
was, if
a
you saw
combination.
someone in that uniform in one part of the castle, and then someone saw them on the other side of the castle, and they don't know it's a different person, or they see someone in the exact same clothing about the same size, because another thing that a lot of people don't know about the ninjas is that there was a firm class and requirements to be a ninja. If you didn't meet those requirements, they
Yep.
didn't accept you. And it was
Yes.
size, weight, and everything like that. You had to meet a certain requirement.
Yep.
Yep. And what's funny is how they got started. They got started as quote unquote mercenaries
Yep.
from the history I was reading. They were hired out as mercenaries, but then that kind of changed, and well, then they had a lord they served.
Mm-hmm.
Much actually like a lot of the samurai clans, they started off as more thuggish and then eventually got sponsored by a lord and got boosted up.
Yep. Once they
Becoming
realized
samurai
how
clan.
useful they were, the Lord would scoot them right up because, like, hey, this we can use.
The closest thing to modern way that's handled is the Yakuza, which, ironically enough, the Yakuza is being torn apart right now because
Yeah.
of Japanese laws. Both in a good and bad way, ironically, the Yakuza. It's leading to non-affiliate punks running the streets now
Yeah.
with no honor. But, yeah, that's one of the things I like about talking about ninjas. It constantly leads to good discussions like this. Also, us bashing at Naruto. Ugh.
Yeah. There's a couple of people on my Discord server that can talk your head off about every aspect of Naruto, upside one side and down the other. And I tell them, like, look, I'm not a fan of the show. I know things about it,
Yes.
but that's about it.
I'm only a
Other than
fan of
that,
certain aspects of the show, but most of it
Yeah,
is
like-
like,
See one of our episodes previously about great potential of Naruto.
yeah.
oh god, there's
But-
a story with that one.
Yes, yes. there
It's the
is.
same with One Piece. You can honestly watch one season, skip four, watch one episode, skip the season, watch one episode, skip the season, and you still are caught up with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand the appeal more to One Piece though than I do to Naruto, at least modern Naruto.
But we're getting off topic. Let's gotta reel it back in because I'm letting that go off. But so
So
the majority of the game, as Ice has stated, you more missions, and then you lead to a point where you go fight the main villain, and I wouldn't say you save the world, but definitely save your province, kingdom. I forget how that works with
province.
Providence. Thank you.
Providence and prefectures.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, because they didn't deal with kingdoms; they just dealt with provinces.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking because it's more of a term I'm more familiar with. I keep saying it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Province.
understandable.
Yeah. As someone
So
who lives in provinces,
this,
yeah. It's
so
much more
clearly the
taxing
game
to
got
do.
some traction because it got a sequel, a prequel sequel. Because
That
you all
always
know how we
confuses me.
all love that one.
That so confuses me. It's,
Well, because back in the day, when games were released, it was, this is our one shot. It either
yeah.
has to catch or it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So when they made Tenchu 1, it was, hey, we hope this game catches, and if it does, then we can go back and do an origin story of how it started.
This
Oh, okay.
covers how they were. Well, I wouldn't say how they came to be in the clan, but where they came from to work for Lord Goda.
Mhm.
Because we joined them when they're in their late teens, still training under their master, with a third person we'll talk about later. And they are just now, after having their. This is the point where we find out how they became the last of the Azuma clan, essentially. Now, it is vaguely mentioned in the manuals for how each of them became Azuma, because they were not born into it, they were adopted into the clan, per se.
Okay. That was also not too out of the ordinary for ninja clans as well to take in refugees in a sense.
Rikimaru, who was the male protagonist, was a orphan child of a target of the Azuma clan leader who took Ryu as a baby into the clan after assassinating their parents. Ayame, I believe, was a street urchin that he took in. And Tetsumaru, the third playable character, I forget how he became one. I don't know if he was born into the clan or if he was another child they took in.
He was probably there when the clan leader probably watched his parents get killed in a circus accident. Oh wait, that's Robin.
Yeah, I don't remember too well myself. Like I said, it's been so many years since I've played the Tenchu series.
the
I
only one-
actually have them on emulation, so I can replay
Yeah,
them.
I definitely remember Rikimaru's because that was the interesting one to me, because you adopted a kid the parents you just murdered.
Hey, it's a free kid. Don't waste it.
Because just give me a second.
I mean, you've heard the expression "don't throw the baby out with the bathwater." Well, in this case, it's "don't throw the baby out with the assassination attempt."
Yeah, I do apologize if you hear the clicking. That's me muting my mic so you don't hear me coughing up a lung over here.
Thank you for that.
But like I said, there's nothing really too deep about any of this. Like, even when we get into the later games, these are not the deepest series. There's no Shakespeare writing or anything like that. So if it sounds cliched, it probably sounds right for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for the time period, yes. Again, this isn't like Final Fantasy writing or
Yeah,
Metal Gear Solid writing.
mm-hmm.
This is Activision, and their games were not known for amazing storytelling, but you still get a baseline story that was easy to follow and digest,
Mm-hmm.
as well as decent gameplay. And you didn't have ninja games at the time, so they kind of started filling in for a audience that they didn't even know they had,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
people had. They want, like, oh, I want a stealth game, because I think Tenchu came out before Metal Gear Solid 1 or after, but not too far after.
No, they were pretty close at least, because there's
Yeah, they
too
were
many
close.
similarities for it not to be seen
Because
towards each
I
other.
played the Pizza Hut demo of Metal Gear Solid, but I played Tenchu 1 demo on an actual demo disc.
I remember those. God, and now I feel old.
Yeah, trust me, I do too. But there was an audience that was now hungry for stealth games, and you only had Metal Gear Solid and Tenchu. Now, personally, I prefer Tenchu because I like to be intimate with my kills. I like to hear that last gurgle gurgle. But it was nice, and just like Metal Gear Solid, it was just as easy to mess up and then die.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I just did a quick preliminary search thanks to Wikipedia.
Ah, lovely.
Tenchu came out February 26, 1998. Metal Gear Solid came out September 3rd, 1998.
Now, was
So
that
we're-
the American release or the Japanese?
It just says first release on this. I'm trying to find
That's
it.
probably
so
it's probably gonna be the Japanese release. They're probably going by its first release.
Okay, if it says first release, then
That's
yes.
the
That's why I
assumption.
wanted to ask, because
Yeah,
sometimes that's always.
that's the assumption.
Mhm.
Also, according to this, it's technically a FromSoft game. So
Yes, it would be, because they were getting
Yeah.
Activision was publishing.
okay, so this wasn't
First
an
from
actual
Soft.
produced by Activision. This was published by.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those
Okay.
weird mixtures that wasn't really clearly stated at the time,
Oh
but
God, yes, that's completely
It,
understandable. It's sometimes
yeah.
hard to track down how much a publisher did back in the day,
mhm,
because sometimes publishers would assist with the production of game. Other times they would just see someone trying to sell a game, and go, "Yeah, it's ours," and then
yeah,
you don't even see the producers on it, which always pissed me off when I found out. Oh, hey, this game was made by them. Well, why wasn't there in the box? Ah,
I think Tenchu fell into that, or it just said
yeah.
Activision. I don't think
Tenchu,
FromSoft was on it.
mm.
I think that might be one of the smaller problems with Tenchu is that they fell into a lot of weird crevices with some of how they're produced.
Yeah, everything I know about FromSoft is they were just desperate to get their games out at times, and they didn't care how they got them out because they were just
Yeah,
trying to keep the lights on. Everything I know about the 90s and early 2000s FromSoft, they were barely keeping the lights on in places. A lot of their games were beloved, but sold terribly.
hmm
Yeah.
I think this is one
Armored
of the
Core
few
is one of
that
those.
was well
Hmm.
beloved and sold decently.
I think there's a handful of FromSoft games that are owned by different publishers for the sake of they were just desperate to get out the door.
Yeah, but like I said,
Yeah.
this is mostly more of an origin story about how they started to go work for their Lord Goda
Mm.
and what led them to have the personalities that they have and such as that.
Man, Wikipedia does not have much of the Tenchu franchise. That sucks.
Yeah, this is one of those games where it kind of, I wouldn't exactly call it a cult classic to the degree that like some people
Hidden gem is what I would probably put it under.
probably would be the best word would probably be the hidden gem, yes.
Yeah.
Because what happens in the second one is a lot more interesting because there is another clan of ninjas whose name I can't remember. I think it was like the Burning Dawn or something like that.
Yeah, I
Some
don't remember them at
cliched
all.
name, and they were trying to have the ninjas step out from the shadows and come into the light.
That's dumb.
Yeah, they were not really smart about it.
Hey guys, we're known for our stuff. Let's stand out in the middle of the open and announce that we're assassins.
So Ricky
Why is
Mara
the
and
village mad at
Ayame
us?
pretty much stand against them after having their clan decimated by them, and one thing leads to another. They kill their best friend, and Ricky Mara becomes the new leader of the clan because it's either him or Ayame. And
Which
Ayame's way too
explains.
hot-headed for this.
Yeah, but it also explains why Ricky Maru and Ayame are so close.
Mhm.
Which is where it kind of really pisses me off in the fourth game, but we'll get, or the fifth game, I should say. But we'll get there when we get there.
No,
Yeah.
first is just a setup. Second's the prequel to explain it. What's the third one?
The third one is actually where it really gets good, in my opinion.
This
So-
was
So it also carries something else with Metal Gear Solid in common. Third is the best.
yeah, pretty much. This game though was pretty much like the chef's kiss.
Ah,
This
This
is
is
where
when they really found their niche and they found their talent. And it was like, okay, well, we got the stuff in the first two games. What can we really do to bring this out, to really convey this game?
This
And-
one had a decent story setup. It was like I said, it wasn't extravagant. It wasn't Metal Gear Solid, but it was more of a story than one. And it was easy to follow, but it still had the plot twists. Though some of it was kind of just because we have evil dark magic, so we'll do whatever the hell we want.
Mhm.
There was some online play. You could actually co-op some, like off or out. There wasn't like online co-op, but you had like certain missions or like a boss fight you could do in co-op, but that was separate from the main storyline. So you could actually grab a friend and go 2-player co-op and just see what you could pull off.
Is this the Xbox title?
This was for both. This was originally for the PS2, and then there was an Xbox release.
Okay, 'cause see the PS2, I remember Wrath of Heaven.
yeah, I just looked it up. I was like, I
Right,
couldn't
Wrath of
find
Heaven
it.
and Return of Darkness is the same game. Wrath of Heaven was for the PS2. Return of Darkness
Okay, so
was
this is
released
okay.
for
I just wanted to
Xbox.
make sure this was the same game because
Yeah.
see,
I'm sorry,
Wrath
I
of
forgot to mention
Heaven-
that.
Wrath of Heaven did not have multiplayer.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. That was my bad.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I was looking at this picture and I was like, wait a minute, this was reminding me of Wrath of Heaven.
But yes, this is Wrath of Heaven and Return of Darkness are the same game. It was just the original release in Japan. It was called Return from Darkness.
So again, just to compare them all here again, naming conventions of this franchise are hard to follow.
Yes, I do apologize. I forgot about that.
Yes,
Yeah,
is what you're talking here is the Xbox title,
Yeah,
Yes.
where
which
I
appear,
know Wrath of Heaven, which is the PS2 title.
Right.
yeah, it looks like they pulled the whole Ninja Gaiden and Ninja Gaiden Black or Ninja Gaiden Sigma words
Yes.
released
Yes,
on
essentially.
the opposite console at the time with a few upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say upgrades. I would say the PS2 was the downgrade because the PS2 you did not have the multiplayer aspect. That was not in the game
No,
at
that's
all.
Yeah.
what the Xbox title came out after the PS2 version. Much
Yeah.
like
Oh
how
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that would be the
how
upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah.
much how like Ninja Gaiden
I
and
mean,
then Ninja Gaiden Black and then Ninja Gaiden
yeah, because
Sigma, which was
graphically and gameplay wise, they were all the same. It's just that when they released it for the Xbox, they were able to include a multiplayer and like a boss rush co-op
ooh.
that was
It
separate.
actually sounds fun.
Yeah. Now there is one thing that me and my friend discovered when we did the co-op boss rush.
Uh huh.
You could hit each other.
Oh, so friendly fire was a thing.
Yeah, and here's the thing: each one, they both got like a super ninja kill move.
Yeah.
Ricky
Oh
Mars
Lord.
was a one-shot kill, but you could only hit one enemy. Ayame's was a multi-target that did massive damage, but was not an insta-kill. I counted as a target,
Ooh, so
so you had
you
to
can
make
count that as
sure you were
bad
clear of
programming.
her range before she launched.
Either bad programming or they really wanted these to feel powerful.
Oh, actually no. This would tie into their later series, Dark Souls or in Demon Souls, because you can hit not your AIs, not your friend being summoned, but if you had NPCs you were helping, you could still swing and hit them.
Hmm.
Mm.
But
So it seems like they kept that.
But either way, it was if you were cautious with it, you were fine. But it was just something that we realized after doing it a couple times. Like, dude, will you please stop doing that at the start of the fight? You're killing me. But
Makes it a challenge.
this one, you also, I think this was also the first one that let you be able to kill from the ledges when you're hanging down from them. 'Cause I don't-
Yeah, because I don't think that was available in the PS2. You had to drop directly behind them.
Yeah, because I know 1 and 2 you couldn't do ledge kills because I think that was a programming issue they had,
Mhm.
and I think they got sorted out 3 because I know you could kill while hanging from a ledge. I know for certain you could do that in 3.
Yeah, I remember ledge hanging in 3,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't remember being able to just drop down onto a target and kill them.
Oh no, I
I
mean
remember
when
having
hanging
to
from a ledge
drop.
you could reach up and grab them.
Oh yeah, that wasn't in 3. No, 3 you actually had to wait for them to go by and then
Yeah.
jump up and then doing
Unless that was an upgrade for the Xbox
I mean,
version.
I think that might have been an
which that could
upgrade
be.
then, possibly.
Which is fine. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
They found out they could do more, which the Xbox probably at the time between the PS2 and the original Xbox, the Xbox did have better hardware.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
the
So
Xbox was the most powerful console of that generation. No, it was the second most powerful console of that generation. Surprisingly, it was the GameCube was the most powerful game of that generation.
I'll believe it.
yeah,
The
yeah,
But it's
PS2 had
GameCube was really powerful.
but the
I-
downside of the GameCube was those mini discs actually did hold less data.
yeah, the
Yeah,
PS2 was really open for firmware, but
Mhm. That's why it has one of the highest library counts in the gaming history. But it also anything that was multi-platformed, it was usually advised to not play the PS2
yeah.
version.
yeah. A lot of games I started getting the Xbox version over the PS2 version.
But
If it
this
didn't have a GameCube version, I didn't get it. That's why my PS2 collection is actually my smallest game collection.
But yeah, this was a lot like Tenchu 1 where it had a main story and you could do each story in segments of the mission.
Mhm.
And as we said before, if you did well in the mission and you got the highest ranks, you got better items that you use in other missions. That you get even more items by doing better in the mission. So,
However, you could not take them all with you. In your
Mhm.
setup, you had to decide 2 items that were more important for you to take over others.
your inventory is limited, but if you knew what you were running into, well, you knew what you needed. And it allowed you to play differently depending on how you like to play the game. Because your first run is kind of like the test run. Like if you had to fight someone or you were seen, not a big deal. You came back and did better. So it was never felt like you were forced to do it and then leave it alone. You could come back and say, I can do this better.
Hmm.
Same as Hitman Blood Money,
Mm-hmm.
the later Hitman game on the
Yep.
PS2, PC, and Xbox. It fell into the same thing where when you started the game, you only had one silver baller, not the known two,
Yep.
because that game was technically the prequel to Agent 47 at the time until the other, I think, contracts, whatever came out. And then that was just a bunch of different missions from his past. But this was, hey, this is when he's starting to be a hitman for the company. And you have just one silver baller, unsilenced. So you wanted to rely on your tools instead of your guns, or you're relying on accidents and whatnot. But
Yeah.
then as you went
So
through the
many
game,
environmental kills.
yeah, you wanted way more environmental kills until because that game actually had a money system. I know we're getting off track. I'll make this quick.
Mm-hmm.
But you had money you would get after each mission, and then you would use that to build up your weapons, make them stronger, penetrate silencers, so on and so forth. But that changed when you played on Master. Because
Mm.
if you shot someone, even if no one saw it, you didn't get a infamy rank, but it was like, oh, the police detected it was a 9mm shell from a customized gun called the Silver Baller. It's like there's
Yep.
no way you would figure that out. There's no way without seeing the weapon you would not know that. You would
Yep.
know it's a 9mm, but you couldn't say the exact gun. Except for the dog always gave me notoriety because I tranked it. Anyway,
That actually brings up a question. Were there dogs to deal with in the Tenchu games? Because I hate stealth games when they have to deal with dogs.
I know they were in 2.
and there was a stage that had him in Return to Darkness,
Right.
Mm.
So
and
I
they
know they
were
weren't in the
annoying.
first one, but they appeared later on. So
Can I just say this? Can we stop putting dogs in video games? Nobody likes to fight dogs. They're either the most annoying enemy, or when you actually hurt them, the yelp they makes even my black heart weep.
Not for me. The moment you bite me, you're done. No
but
amount of weeping in the world will save
I
you from
did
my
like the
wrath.
one side mission that was in the third game
Mm.
because during the storyline, Ricky Mara actually vanishes,
Yes, he
and he was
does.
teleported to the present time of our present time to kill an evil CEO of modern time. So you had to sneak past
Yes.
guards and they had guns and everything like that.
That definitely sounds like they got tired of making fetal characters. Like, let's just do a water level. How? Let's just do a model level.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
they only did it twice, and it was one mission in Return to Darkness, and in the next title we will talk about, which
Mm.
you had to beat that entire game.
Yep. Tenchu,
Re-
Fatal Shadows.
Fatal Shadows, yes.
Now,
That one
this one
you
I
actually
didn't
beat the
play
game.
as much.
Okay,
If
so
I
this one
played it
was
was
published by Sega. That's why I couldn't find much of the list. They're all over the goddamn publisher list.
yeah,
Yes.
this
But we did forget to mention something.
Oh,
Mm.
Go back.
one moment.
Thank you. In this game, where this is one you actually had to one or two stages. You had to deal with demons or onis, as they call
Mm-hmm.
them, because the big bad evil of this game was trying to resurrect kind of like of a demon lord and then absorb them.
Ah,
Mm.
yes.
So that was the story of this one, and this one gave you three playable characters,
Mm-hmm.
but you had to beat the game with each character. It's like you had
Ah,
to beat the whole game as Rikimaru to unlock Ayame. You had to beat the whole game as Ayame to unlock another character, which my favorite character because his kills were the best.
I think that might have been in one version specific because I remember I could start out with whoever I wanted with the version I played.
Yeah, it was that was PS2. You had to beat it with each character individually.
Maybe it's been so long because I remember doing it swapping back and forth, but I may have just had done it and forgot about it.
Well, yeah, because the third character was a secret character,
Yeah, the third one I know you
and
had to beat with both Ayame and Rikimaru. That much I
yeah,
remember.
yeah, and
Because I did that in 2 with Rikimaru Ayame, and then you could play as the other character Tetsumaru.
yeah, and they do that as kind of like a thank you. Like you put in the time to do this, here's a reward and to have fun. Kind of like Resident Evil, where you do the mercenaries modes and you're doing it with all the characters, and then you finally unlock Wesker, the powerhouse. It's like, hey, you did all this. Here's the guy we know everybody wants to play as at least once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fatal Shadows, I did not play. I don't know if it was because I didn't hear about this in time. Because this, as much as I love this series, sometimes you just never heard anything about this series.
I can tell you about this series. I do not like it. It is the weakest one of the bunch.
I honestly think that's the next one, but please continue.
So, this one, you do not use Rikimaru at all.
Yeah, this was during the time that Rikimaru was in the present timeline.
Yes. So, technically, after the events of Wrath of Heaven, and he gets teleported into the present, and you kill the CEO, this game is happening. And you're using Ayame and another girl named, I think it's Rin.
Yes, Rin, Rin.
Yes. Ayame is looking for Rikimaru. She knows he disappeared. She thinks he's still in their timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So her whole job, I say her job, her mission is to find him while assisting Rin at the same time. Rin was kind of screwed over by her arranged marriage. Her arranged husband killed her family, damn near killed her in the process, and she just survived. So Rin's whole story is just revenge. While Ayame is just searching.
Yeah,
So
Ayame kind of get roped into this because Rin thought Ayame had killed the villagers.
Yeah, she thought she was a part of it. And then she finds out she wasn't, so she's like, I'll let you help me for now, but if I find out, I'm going to kill you. So this game, kind of the same deal. You go through the stages as Rin, except this one did it where they split. You'll play as Rin for a few stages, then you'll play as Ayame for a few stages. And they kept swapping back and forth, and it got really annoying because, like Rikimaru and Ayame, they have completely different play styles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that when we talk more about the characters themselves.
Yeah. Ayame, you still fight some demons here and there, but not a lot because that's not the major focus.
Mm-hmm.
They're there, but it's whatever. The end of the game, your very last mission, is you use Rin and you fight her fiance. That is the final battle of the game.
Okay.
And he's a tough fight. He's a tough fight. Because it's like any boss fight. It's in the open. There is no stealth. It's just out and out combat between you. So blocking and whatnot is a must.
Yeah, I even felt even at this point, even with 3, fighting out in the open is not where the mechanics were the best at.
They're really not. For this game, that was not the strong point. I mean, yes, I get it. You got to do it for boss fights, or else the whole game would just be kind of a...
To be fair, there were some levels where you could just stealth your way through. There was no boss fight at the end, but...
Yeah, but those were rare that they actually put a stage like that in there where all you had to do is go from point A to point B. Most of the times, it was go from point A to point B, but kill along the way, and you have a boss fight to deal with at the end. What was annoying, though, was I think they brought him back in this one. I don't remember. There was a character that's your first boss in Wrath of Heaven that uses a sword and a gun.
Oh, yeah, him.
And I know you fight him twice, I believe, in Wrath of Heaven. And I think he makes an appearance in this one.
Yeah, enemies with any sort of range ability were a pain in the ass in this series.
I'd imagine they would be.
Yes, because you had no way to close that distance except for just running straight up to them. But they were nice enough to make it so they just would not spam their ranged weapon.
Yeah.
So you had time to get up to them, but what made the one boss annoying in particular was he would jam the gun into your stomach and pull the trigger, blowing you away.
Oh, so the knockback was the major problem.
Yeah, and you're receiving damage on top of that.
Yeah. That kind of goes without saying with the gun shoved in your stomach.
That and him shooting you.
Yeah.
Because he's shooting you to blow you back.
Mm-hmm.
You don't... I cannot count how many times I heard his famous line, "Fly, baby!" And then I go sailing across the fucking
Yeah,
room.
because he was the first boss for Ayame in Wrath of Heaven.
Yep. He's the first boss for every character.
And I just remember that he was actually the first one to really... Fittingly enough, first boss gave me the first amount of trouble, because I'm like, Jesus Christ, why do you have a gun?
Believe it or not, he's the hardest boss in the game besides the final boss.
Yeah.
Because of that damn gun. That's
You
what
remember
made
the
him.
Puppet Master?
Yep.
I think it was fun to fight.
But I mean, also this comes where you have three-dimensional movement, but it's almost like you're, even though the camera's behind you, it's almost like you're fighting with tank controls.
Oh.
Yeah, it can
Yeah.
be...
The controls can snub you out real quick if you're not paying attention.
Because the thing about it is that you're used to taking your time and being very
Precise.
careful with your movement during the stealth sections.
Yeah.
And then that gets tossed right out the window when you fight a boss. Understandably so, because he's staring right at you and you're doing a standoff, essentially. But when you focus your controls, which rightfully because it's a focus on stealth, it just really showed some clankiness with the controls because this is not what they're made for.
Yeah, it was not really set up for boss battles. I mean, at the time, of course, you work with what you have.
Yeah. 3, again, to go back to Wrath of Heaven or Return from Darkness, really had the best setup for it. Because the stealth worked and the boss fights, while still clunky, had a bit more polish to them. They weren't
Yes.
perfect, but they had some sort of flow to them, is the best way I can describe it.
And Soul, this answers so many questions. Think of Sekiro. People were saying this was a spiritual successor to Tenchu. You have that damn thing, that hook, to get around stages.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, it was a bit clunky. You still had the hook and rope with intention to get up buildings, but that was a little clunky as well.
Yeah, yes, what I'm saying is the fact that they took that from Tenchu, put it in Sekiro. And I didn't realize Tenchu was made by FromSoft. I was like, oh, they just took an idea from Tenchu.
It's all
well,
coming
it's
together.
their game. Yeah, it was their game. So it makes sense they took that.
So, what you're telling me is there's more likely to be a new Tenchu game than there is to be a new Metal Gear game.
Well, yeah, Metal Gear is done. That's done because nobody's got the brain power of Hideo Kojima to make that series go, and even as weird as it is, make it work.
Yeah, you can't just take a guy in a room and force him to watch the same movies and get the same Kojima.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But Tenchu is the same way.
Yeah, well, let's discuss what we really want to, if we ever get a new Tenchu game at the end of this, because I think there's a lot of room discussion for that.
Okay.
Especially for some games that have come out within the last couple of years.
But anyway, Fatal Shadows, it was a weak story. It was just the same as Wrath of Heaven. Difference was no Rikimaru until after you beat the game, and then you were in a parking garage killing security, trying to kill another corrupt CEO.
So it almost pretty much rehashed what it did in the previous one.
It did, because except for that time, I think he was just being teleported around.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you beat it, he gets teleported elsewhere.
So that leads us into this hard thing.
Now this one
which
I'm
just noticing that little horrible symbol in the corner now.
I see you, Ubisoft.
Okay.
It could be worse. It could be the EA logo.
It could be a rainbow.
EA might have done a better job.
Depending on the era EA.
Well, this is the old era. This is PS2 era.
The first thing that went wrong with this, and I hate to say it because the Wii usually does this pretty well, motion controls in a stealth game.
So No, the best Wii titles had very little motion control. Even one of the best games on the Wii, Donkey Kong Country Returns, was ruined by the motion controls. I recommend you play the 3DS version of that game before you play the Wii version.
Okay, well, I was
I
trying
was
to be
about to
nice,
say
but yeah.
a lot of people opted out of the motion control game. Like, even games that were shooters that were made for the motion control just still did not work
There's
correctly.
only two games I actually think are made better by the Wii, and that's Metroid Prime 3 and until the Wii U version of it, Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Besides that,
So,
all the best Wii games, you just use the controller.
yeah,
I'm,
so stealth and motion controls. Yeah, that
yeah,
combination just kind of.
like I said, it sounds just as clunky as you're playing Donkey Kong Country, and to roll Donkey Kong faster, you need to shake the Wiimote, which is also how you ground pound.
Yeah.
Oh, that is terrible.
And
It is terrible.
the second thing that really went wrong here was the story.
Tell me about it. Like I said, I skipped this one. I
Okay,
didn't even know of its existence.
I know the bare basics. I never played this because I did not want anything to do with this with the motion controls and stealth. But I did watch a let's play of it, so but it starts off with the Ayame learning that there is a traitor in the House of Goda. I forget how you put that, but the information she has is that the traitor has white hair, is a man, and works for Goda. And she's told that it's Ricky Maru. And she believes this. The man that she looks up to as a brother, she immediately is willing to believe is a traitor after everything he's done to work for Lord Goda. That's my first problem here.
That sounds dumb.
Yeah, it is.
It sounds dumb, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Whenever you're told that your lord is being betrayed by someone, especially back in the feudal era, even if they knew you their whole life, if you were told, "Hey, this person's against your lord, you need to kill him," they'll kill him.
What?
There is no, I want a second guess. I
What?
want
No.
proof. It's
Here's the thing. It wasn't told it was Ricky Maru. It was just told it was a man with white hair.
Mhm.
While the man that was telling her this was a man with white hair. So, you immediately assume it was Ricky Maru rather than the man that's standing right in front of you.
Now, was his hair short like Rikimaru's or long? Because this will make the difference.
Well, they didn't specify hair length. They just said white hair.
Okay, yeah, that's dumb. It's like, oh, well, I guess you're it, stab.
Yeah, it's like I know that this is like. I think that what time it was a advisor to Lord Goda,
Mhm.
but still for Ayami to so willing to believe Ricky Mars betraying the Lord he has served for this long, has done so much for this Lord, and is basically her brother.
Hello, I am the new character. Allow me to immediately tell you to assassinate your dear friend.
So here will be the question. This is where, for the show, legwork would need to be put in. Who wrote it?
I am
Was
not 100% sure.
that's why I said when if we're going to talk about the stories, we have to look at who did them. Like, was this still from software with Ubisoft saying, "Hey, yeah, we'll just shell it out for you"?
Let's see here. That's the writer.
Was this Ubisoft writing this title? Because if it's Ubisoft writing this title, makes sense.
It
Because
feels like an Ubisoft right, but I could be wrong with that. Don't say that I'm saying that 100%.
Yashiro Abe is credited as the writer for Tenchu Shadow Assassins. I'm not seeing a writer credit for the previous games, which is not that. No, wait. Tenchu 2 had a writer, Mikasaki Higari. The first one now had a writer.
But so it turns out that the people that were betraying Lord Goda were being possessed by Onikage.
oh, possession now.
Yes. And so
Okay.
The more I quick research, every Tenchu game is written by a different person.
That
Okay, so
actually
this was
explains a
just a
couple of
crap
things.
writer.
Probably, yeah.
And so it actually, this is the last of the main storyline for Rikimaru and Ayame. It actually ends with Onikage almost killing the Lord Goda's daughter, and he winds up possessing Ayame. And when that's revealed, the game ends, and that's where Tencho's left off with the main story. with those
So
two.
not,
The
not only
story
do we
ends with Ayame's death.
Pretty much,
pretty
yeah.
much.
I mean, I guess if you're a ninja that long, yeah, your death is going to come eventually.
Yes, you're not wrong about that,
Well,
but in terms of a form of media, God, that's unsatisfying.
oh god, I think that's why I really didn't even bother playing the game afterwards. Because sometimes I'll find the end of the game, but playing the game content still amuses me, so I would get it.
Mm-hmm.
This
Mhm.
was not one of them.
I mean, first off, it was a Wii title, so that's one thing already going against it. But
Look, I will defend the Wii a lot. I'll rarely defend its motion controls, but I will defend the Wii had a large library that was very good. But when the Wii game stunk, it stunk real
Yeah, and
bad.
that little
yeah,
symbol in the corner there just wasn't helping it.
No,
well,
no.
that symbol to me, that symbol is irrelevant. What I care about, because mind you, we're dealing with old titles.
Fair
These
enough.
Yes.
companies were good back then.
Yeah,
There
I
were
can't argue that fully.
Yeah,
there were
these were
many
good
Ubisoft games
companies.
worth your time.
Yeah, it's not like Ubi now and even EA for the last 10 years. Um,
Well, when I watched the Let's Play, there was just something about this. And now, like I said, the first three games, or I should say four, were not written masterpieces, but there was just something about this one that just felt,
it rubbed you the wrong way.
yeah. Now if someone plays this one and they enjoy it, more power to them.
Oh yeah.
But this one
Yeah,
just
obviously.
rubbed me
You
just
see
the
why
way
you're
that I
doing
was
that.
like, I am skipping this, and I really don't care.
I want to look at something while you're doing that. I want to see
Because it felt
what it
like that.
actually looks like.
Because what it is, the problem with me with this one was that it felt like
See.
they didn't understand that while they weren't love interests between Ayami and Rikimaru, like they clearly settled that one in the second game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They were the only two Azuma survivors, and they worked together for so many years together that they had a trust built between them.
Yeah, if what I was saying is correct, if the Lord had said
Mm-hmm.
kill Rikimaru, she would have. But if this is a character she's not very well associated with, just shows up and drops hint that, all right, despite the fact that I match every bit of the description of the target's actually your best friend.
If I remember
Oh, oh
correctly,
boy.
and like I
This is
said,
clearly a Ubisoft title. You have Eagle Vision.
Oh Lord. Okay, I
oh
will
yeah, I forgot about
defend
that.
a handful of the Assassin's Creed games. By the time we got to Assassin's Creed 2.7, whatever you want to call it, I'm still burnt out of the franchise. But no, don't just. There's a difference between the assassins and ninjas. They don't like. They do have some crossover, yes, but you can't just take everything that's in one franchise and hot glue gun it to
If
another.
I remember correctly, and like I said, don't quote me on this one because, like I said, I skipped this one. I only saw like one playthrough of it. The
Yeah.
person telling Ayami what the trailer looked like was possessed by Rick Onikage. I think was an advisor to Lord Goda, so it was someone supposedly with trust.
Yes, but just because she works directly for the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
she may not know this advisor at all. Now they could have gotten away with it because he's possessed. He's using demonic powers to slightly influence her.
But it
But
never
you have
gave
to.
me that feeling towards it, or even implied it. But
Mhm.
I'm just
That
saying,
still
like it
that
just felt
still
like there was
feels.
that she was too willing to automatically believe that her friend was betraying everything they believed in. So personal opinion on that, but that's where I stand on it.
I just found out that the Tenchu franchise had a stage play.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Huh.
I kept trying to find it on YouTube, but I never managed to find it.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah,
It's from 2014, so.
yeah, I know. I tried from like 2015 onward, I still never found it.
Mm.
But let's move on a little bit. This is the one M is familiar with.
I played 20 minutes of it.
Tenchu Z.
This
It was
is
fun.
the
It was legitimately fun, but at the time.
Oh, okay. I now see exactly what this is. I'm looking at the scene you were speaking about, Soul.
mm-hmm.
And what makes this worse is not the fact that Ayame died. It's the fact that the villain she's dressed up as the princess or the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
The villain pulls her in front of him as Rikimaru's stabbing, and it goes through her chest and through his.
Yep.
That's. I'm sorry, Ricky Morrow was trained enough to stop his sword.
Yeah, it just felt like this. And then because the princess got stabbed, Ayami breaks down and gets possessed by Onikage. And when it's revealed that she's turns and shows off that she's possessed, end credits. And that just felt so really unsatisfying.
Yeah. I mean, Street Fighter endings are usually unsatisfying, but especially when they don't get resolved.
Yeah, I mean, it
'Cause,
went from that to the multiplayer where Ricky Mara is your sensei and training you to be the next members of the Azuma clan.
let's double check
And
this.
the fun thing about Tenchu
Shadow
Z,
Assassins was a nearly 2010 game, so yeah, it's over 11 years.
yeah,
Yeah, that's bad.
but
That's
Tenchu
bad.
Z was released for the 360, the Xbox 360, and it allowed for 4-player online co-op play where you create your own ninja to do missions with. You could do it on your own or team up with other people. And you could do a couple of things if you're with other people. Like if you couldn't jump up to a roof, if someone was already up there, they could lean over the ledge and grab you to help you get up the roof.
Oh, so I don't know if you played it. So kind of like Siphon Filter Omega Strain on the PS2.
I have never even heard of that.
I've heard of it. I've never played that one.
A quick rundown where I'm getting the similarity. So if
Yes.
you play the original Siphon Filters, there's always one player, and you had a story to follow.
Right.
Well, when Siphon Filter Omega Strain comes about, Gabriel Logan runs now the Secret Service organization, along with I forget the woman's name that was with him throughout the other the other three titles, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
They both run it. So they decided in their infinite wisdom, hey, let's make a online version of
Ah.
Siphon Filter, which is Omega Strain. You do missions, you get weapons, you get gear, aesthetics, stuff like that. The game was meant to be played with obviously more than yourself,
Mm-hmm.
even though you can play the game by yourself. In fact, I beat the entire game by myself because you can play it online or offline.
Mhm.
So they were smart. Even if you didn't have online access, you could still play the game. The problem where it required two people to get up a ledge or over a truck, don't ask me why it would take two people to do that,
Mhm.
you failed certain objectives because it's just you and you cannot go over the truck or over the ledge
Mm-hmm.
or have someone hack a computer while you defend. So you were limited by yourself.
Yeah. Fortunately, Tenchu didn't limit you that way per se. You just had to find other ways to go to get to certain spots.
Yes. Now I did have an issue with this game.
Hmm?
I only played like the first three missions of it because I got it when it was not a lot of people playing it. So I was by myself
Same.
with my created ninja. My problem with it was the movement and controls. By this time, the controls were more, I'm not going to say they were too fast, but it was a little bit more difficult to control your character. Because if you just wanted to say move up a little bit, tap up, they just fly up there.
I may not have had that issue because I was always just so used to crouch walking all the previous games, no matter where I was going, that I just did that out of reflex. So
Ah, see,
I was,
I ran when I
yeah, I
needed to,
didn't
and
run anywhere.
stealth
I
when I needed
crouch walk
to.
just to stay silent to check around corners. So while I do remember that running was not the most optimal thing they had for there, it just wasn't an issue for me because I didn't run that often.
If you ever hook up your 360 again and decide to throw it in, just run for a little bit, and you'll see what I mean by it was
Yeah,
all
I
over the
do want to do
place.
that is rehook that up and put this game back in there.
Yeah, I have my copy and my 360 sitting around here somewhere. So
It's
I
just too
because I
bad
thought
the
about firing it up.
online capabilities for that is now shut down.
Well, I mean, yes, because they killed all their servers for the 360, as well as PlayStation 2 and so on and
Yeah.
so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sucks, but the thing is, they literally can't keep them up forever.
No, they can't. This is a lot of time, money, and resources
Yeah, I
going to
understand. It
this.
doesn't mean I have to be. I understand it, but I don't have to like it.
No,
And
that's
then
very true.
nobody likes it, but
Yeah, nobody likes it. That's why
it's
Sony's having their issue now with their backlog of games.
yeah.
The only way to really play them now is either still owning those games and the systems to run them,
Mhm.
or emulation. Even though they're like, oh, that's bad. Well, then give me a way that I can still get your
At
games
least I still play
legally and
Tenchu
play
single
Yeah,
them.
player.
do not get me started
Yeah.
with Nintendo right now with them shutting down the eShop in March, and I'm like, okay, can I buy these Game Boy Advance games to put them on Switch?
Yeah,
But
and the answer obviously would be no.
what
Yeah.
I like about this one, it kept all the elements from the previous Tenchu games, but it gave more of a reason behind you getting more tools. You were
Mhm.
earning your rank from your master, and he was rewarding you by teaching you more skills and abilities and weapons.
Mhm.
So, but you still go back to the previous missions and still get those newer weapons that you earned. So,
Yeah, 'cause how many players was this one sold?
this was up to 4.
Okay, so 4 Shinobi running around.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if this, only because I never really got the multiplayer playing around too much with this one. But I'm pretty sure this one still had the fault that if one person was found out, they all knew exactly where you were. All 4 of you.
Thus was the problem with a lot of the older games.
Mm-hmm.
Even Rainbow Six Vegas had that issue,
Yeah.
where if you're playing with, your buddies, and if one was discovered, everybody was already knew who they were.
Yeah. But I mean, it gave a solid try. If you knew what you were doing, you went through the entire levels without being sighted.
Oh yes, they make sure to give you that. I mean, any stealth game worth its salt
Yes.
will allow you to be able to get through, but excluding boss fights.
Yeah.
But like I said,
Or
what I liked when they tried
or
with
that
this one is the combinations of trying to help people get up the rooftops, get across places, and try and make it more of a actual ninja game where you work with each other to get the mission accomplished through various methods.
yeah, you could have person A make a distraction, the guard moves slightly further forward, and person B could be like, okay, now the guy's in stabbing range for me in
Mm-hmm.
the shadows.
So they did try and do a more co-op version of that rather than just having 4 people on the map.
Mhm.
So I do appreciate that. And I like in the last one you could still drag bodies in this one as well.
Oh yes, 'cause by that time the technology was pretty much available to everybody.
Yes.
The AI was smart enough
Mm-hmm.
to be like, "Oh, hey, there's a body. Hey, we got trouble."
But they still fell for the rice ball.
Oh yeah, they did. Believe it or not, that happens in Way of the Samurai.
Oh yeah. Oh, we may have to talk about that one sometime.
I haven't played the first two, but I've played 3 and 4.
I played the first 2. Actually played the first one to so much completion I could actually do the best scenario in like less than 20 minutes.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues I have with that game, even though I enjoy it thoroughly.
So
But
let's
that's
get to the
another game.
characters now because I think this is a good spot to start talking about them.
Sure.
This is Lord Goda, the ruler of his province that you serve under. From what the game tells us, he is actually a pretty noble ruler. He works out for his people. He protects them, and that's really about it. That's all we need to know.
I mean, yeah, you're his assassin. You don't need to look too far into that.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's not much you really need to go into.
Yeah.
but but he does his decent job, and for what little interaction he has, you do kind of understand he's trying to be a good father to his daughter,
Hmm.
Kiku, who is only really important because Ayame makes a kind of like a older younger sister with her, and those two get really close.
That's cute.
Mm-hmm. They even exchange like little bells to be sisters with each other, so that's really the only reason she's important. Oh,
Mhm.
and she's the kidnappable one.
Well, yeah, every castle needs a kidnappable one, don't they? Isn't that like part of like
Usually,
when you get a castle, you need to designate someone to be the kidnappable one,
Yeah, pretty much.
and if you don't,
Princess Peach, I'm looking at you.
and if you don't, you're automatically designated that. Looking at you, Princess Zelda.
Yeah, pretty much. But she does have some other scenes, and she's cute. She's adorable. She if it wasn't for the fact when she starts becoming the ruler that it was in that terrible game for the series, this would be okay.
Okay. So what about our playable characters?
Well, one more. This is actually the teacher that has taught Rikimaru, Ayame, and Tetsumaru the ways of the Azuma Ninja Clan.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Did he do so with ninja info cards?
Ninja info cards.
Sorry.
What the heck are those?
I'm sorry. I like bringing up old memes.
now, I'm going to probably butcher his name for Shiunsei? Shiunsai? Shunsui, maybe? I cannot remember how his name was pronounced in the game. But
we're sorry for anyone that is a stickler for pronunciation, but you were warned.
if you're a stickler
will
for
warn
pronunciation,
these
what are you
people will
doing on
be
this
butchered.
goddamn show?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it either. Usually I have to listen to them pronounce it, and it's
Yeah,
kind
but
of like,
this
oh,
has
okay.
been years since last time I heard this one was before I even met M.
Yep.
So that is
Yeah, because he
ancient
wasn't
for
even
me.
mentioned in the PS2 and onwards.
Yeah, that's because the only time he was ever really mentioned was in the second game. He wasn't even mentioned in the first game. So, but he's the one that adopted Rikimaru and Ayame and got the ball rolling. So, moving on, this is Rikimaru. Now, gameplay wise, he is not the fastest or the strongest. He's kind of the middle ground all rounder.
Mm.
So he does. Essentially, the thing about it is that Ayame is the fastest, and the third character usually has the most strength or attack power. Rikimaru is the middle ground that is, if you want someone that can cover all your bases, this is who you start with. And
Generally, it's good to have the all-rounder as the main character, in my opinion.
plus,
Yeah, usually because you want people to be able to at least get through your game relatively,
yeah.
with not relative ease, but they at least have a challenge, but not overly challenged.
The other thing is that he also has the longest reach when it comes to melee because he's got his sword.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now, funny thing with that, with the katanas, ninjas use the straight katana, where samurai use the slightly curved one.
Yes, if a ninja uses a katana at all.
Well, the funny thing about that is he used a straight katana. Now,
Yeah.
if you're familiar with the term the ninjato,
The ninjato,
Yes.
you mean?
that was actually a Hollywood fabrication. That did not actually exist as a sword.
Yeah.
Like I've said before, a lot of the more famous ninja weapons were generally not ninja weapons if they were weapons at all.
Yeah,
There are a few that were real, but they were probably not used the way Hollywood makes you think they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same with the legendary Masamune.
Now,
It's just the person that made the blade. The blade itself was not a legendary blade.
yeah.
No, I mean, sometimes the sword would be named after the swordsmith, but not really that often, and they usually weren't like the piece he'd like give out. It'd be more like, this is my display sword
Yeah.
for my shop.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
as it
Oh
usually
God,
goes.
I'm sorry, because I'm on a Metal Gear kick. I can just remember the exchange between Naked Snake and Ocelot saying engravings on a weapon mean they give you no technical advantage.
Yes.
And so many of
Best
these-
line.
Yep.
It is. I freaking love how Ocelot brings that back in Metal Gear Solid 5. He looks at the boss like, yeah, I just quoted you. What are you going to do about it?
I know.
But,
Just
yeah,
like, what are those? Antiques? It looks like they belong in a showroom.
yeah.
And that's the thing. A lot of these legendary weapons, they look so pretty. Yeah, that's because they're store display models.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
It's only anime that makes them like, oh man, that's a really badass weapon. And it's like, yeah, but if this was a real weapon, it would just be on the front of the shop.
Those gold flakes will give you away so far, and they'll flake off, leaving a goddamn trail of you. And that ornamental sword piece, if it catches another sword, it's going to snap right off, leaving more chunks. And also,
Exactly.
the balance is not good. It's for display purposes.
It's like
I'm sorry.
it's
sorry,
like
but-
Guts' sword. As lovely as it is, it's not helping you at all. You won't be able to lift the thing.
Well, I mean, the king of impractical
Well,
swords.
do you know how much that
clowns.
Berserker sword weighs?
Yeah.
The Dragon
well,
Slayer
it
is
was
a
made of-
400-pound sword.
Yeah. Nobody's lifting it. Nobody is lifting this blade to use it in combat.
Especially with one hand, motherfucker.
You strap that thing to the front of your car won't even go forward. It'll just go into the ground.
Exactly. Like this blade is impractical. Oh, it's same as the Odachi that
Oh,
Sephiroth uses, even though in
God.
there it's called the Masamune. Most people are like, oh man, the Masamune, Sephiroth's Masamune is it was a flagman's weapon. Just they wouldn't be cut down immediately. They had something to defend themselves,
Yup.
and it was
Yup.
made for cavalry. It was not useful for person-to-person combat. It's the same
No,
as
it
the
was mostly used to
Claymore.
cut down horses, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the
Horses.
same as the Claymore, even though I love Claymores.
Yes.
They were just for cavalry. They weren't good for infantry combat.
And another tangent I just need to go on. That big, bulky knight armor that no one can walk in, that's not actually knight armor. That's lancing armor. That's what you were for jousting. Real knight armor, you can do everything you can in Dark Souls. The rolls, the flips, the running for good miles. If you could
Yeah,
not move in that armor, nobody would have worn it.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
I always remember knight armor just being like a chest plate and like segmented arm pieces for the most part.
No, but the whole head to toe knight armor, the plate mail that it's always joked about, oh, that guy can't walk. No, you could run in that stuff. So just
Yeah.
picture a guy in full plate mail running at you at near full speed with a sword and shield in hand.
Yeah, and a lot of people seem to forget. They're like, oh, nobody could wear all that. And they were trained with this armor. As soon as they were able to fit in it, they've been
Mhm.
training in it. Their
Yep.
body has adjusted to this armor.
And they couldn't just go to the armory and grab any old armor. They would have armor forged for them. A knight
Yes.
was also expected not to put on a lot of weight.
Yeah, it's the same like commanders. That's why commanders had their regular regalia for combat and war, just as they had their ceremonial regalia, which was
E-
not for war.
The military today still has that. They have their their white uniforms and their camo uniforms. They don't go into combat wearing their nice whites.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, medieval fans. A commander is not running in with black and gold trim regalia. They're
No.
going in with their standard commander's uniform, which is usually gray, like everyone else's. He just
Yep.
might have a symbol or two on him to show it's commander.
He might have a fancy cape, but that's actually probably to keep rain off his back.
Yep, and he
Ca-
can easily take it off at any
yeah,
time.
Yeah.
capes have a purpose, and I'm sorry, the Incredibles capes are easy to come off.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
If your cape gets you pulled into an exhaust engine, that's a design flaw at the mode. That's your fault, not the cape's fault. At the mode, we all love you, but you fucked up.
but
Yeah.
drawing
That's the
back
point.
to the game now.
Yes.
Sorry, Saul.
No, that's fine. But I do have to try and keep us on focus a little bit. Rikimaru is also known as he was also the slowest to learn the techniques, but the way he learned them, he mastered the techniques.
Okay, so once he learned it, he was proficient.
Yeah,
But until
yeah, he was
then,
golden once
This
he
is
learned
just
it.
more of the lore behind it all,
mhm.
because this actually has no gameplay mechanics whatsoever to it, but it's just kind of like the fun lore stuff in the manual.
Oh, that's nice. I like
Yeah,
that.
back when manuals actually gave you lore about characters and whatnot.
What's a manual?
That's a true question today.
Nah,
It
I
is, it
know,
really
but
is.
still.
Last game I got, I'm like, why do they still have the manual clips on the left?
He's also the one that's
Yeah,
he's also an expert kenjutsuist, which is anybody that knows that is a sword master.
Mhm.
yeah,
Like I've said, ninjas wouldn't have katanas, but I'm not saying they wouldn't train with them.
Yeah.
It's just a katana usually stands very much out in a
Well, another reason a ninja would train with all the weapons is because so they can infiltrate as a samurai.
Yeah. Or
So,
again from Metal Gear, procure on site.
yep.
yeah. Or if they were like, that was another thing where samurai had their katanas on their hip and just did have theirs on their back. The ones that did use it, but that's why it was a straight katana.
Yeah, you
Because
you can draw a katana like that from your back, but it ain't as practical.
yeah,
No,
you
you
have
had
to
to do
take
it
your hand
beforehand.
behind you to push it up, push the hilt up when the
Yeah, I've gotten to arguments before. People saying nobody ever put a sword on their back. It's impractical. Like, no, depending on the sword, it is completely practical,
yeah,
but it's not always the best choice. Like I'll agree to that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Someone
The
once
best
said
way
that
to
they
do it
just-
was at the waist. I will agree to
Yes.
that.
That's
Yes,
right.
but like his is same as like even though it has nothing to do with it, like Geralt of Rivia, The Witcher,
Yep.
which that game portrays it the best with this
Mhm.
with the sword and sheath on your back. His left hand pushes back on the
Mhm.
sheath so it leans just enough so he can pull his weapon out without issue.
I'd also like
Now,
to just say that the sword that Ricky Martin is using is a lot shorter than most normal katanas. Also, it's not a huge
yes.
amount, but it's also shorter, so it's easier to pull all the way out.
Now, do you
Well,
know
yes.
why someone would put a sword on their back rather than on the much more convenient hip? If they're expected to be climbing a lot, a sword on your hip is going to get in the way constantly. On your back, it is easier to climb into places. And what would a ninja want to do for infiltrations usually?
Do a lot
If
of
they can't,
climbing.
They're
if they,
The
climbing, they're
other
scaling
reason
the castle.
the only reason I could
yeah,
think of is that he's going to be grabbing a lot of supplies from pouches around his waist.
hmm you free up motion and you free up ease of, well, not really pockets, but pouches, yes. But it also is easier to hide a katana if you're in a disguise on your back. Like if you're wearing monk robes, it would stand out on your hip like crazy. But within your on your back, you could hide it better in baggy
Huh, I never
clothes.
actually thought about that one. You're actually right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, when you're
There's
hiding
also,
it, you want it in a less conspicuous area.
if you walk around like a samurai with a sword on your hip, everyone's like, uh, why are you doing that? You're not a samurai. You're dressed as a monk. Monks don't carry katanas.
Yeah, they usually use staffs or nothing
Mhm.
at all.
Yep, most monks would just carry around prayer beads, which ninjas were used would hide things in prayer beads.
In prayer beads, yeah. That's where you get the anime's overly huge prayer beads.
Yeah, that actually is oversized, but they were bigger than how Christian prayer beads are usually done. Rosary beads are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
But
yeah,
overall, looking at Ricky Maru, he's stylized, but he's not too inaccurate for a real world ninja would have been.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like you could look at him and be like, yo, this guy's an actual ninja.
Yeah, without having to have all the extreme, like long flowing headband crap.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
looking
think
at you,
the best thing is
Naruto.
that it's a simple design. It does
Yeah.
have some showing off to it, like the
Mhm.
gauntlets.
I mean, he's not wearing, well, I have to quote this, real ninjas wear blue. He's wearing
Yeah.
blacks and grays, but uh, if he was in a more modern setting, the black would make more sense.
Mm.
But in feudal Japan, he would want to wear blue as his main stealth color.
Yeah.
But once again, just a game, so it doesn't have to be 100%
No,
accurate. So
that I
Yeah.
feel is like one of the ways of telling us, the player, he's a ninja, even though historically that's not what he would have
yeah,
worn.
Yeah. That's
The
where anime gets that right, where they're more of a dark blue.
Yeah, the greaves he's wearing and the gauntlets could easily be hidden by his sleeves much better, which
right.
would be more ninja-like.
And it does look like it's some sort of. I think it's supposed to be like chainmail for the sleeves.
That's definitely a
Yeah.
chainmail or a mesh armor.
Yeah, so that's definitely
Yeah.
accurate because they would wear that underneath. It would be lightweight and offer some protection.
And if you wear enough layers of clothing, it actually doesn't jangle that much.
Yeah,
Yeah. That also too though, but he's more he even though he's dressed in the traditional ninja garb, the reason he has those arm guards and like foot guards or shin guards is you had ninjas that were mainly trained to be in the shadows and whatnot, but you also had ninjas that were trained
hmm
for out and out combat if
Yeah.
needed. And that's what Ricky Maru is. He's trained, even though he isn't a ninja and assassin, but he's also trained that hey, if shit goes down,
Yeah.
he's
mm-hmm.
got something to say, deflect something. Like if
Yeah.
they swing the sword, he can kind of move his arm in
Another
such a way
bit of
that
him
it
being the all
slides
rounder.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, not every ninja had that. It was mainly the
Mhm.
foot guards a lot of ninjas had.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you could easier hide foot guards than you could.
Yeah.
and the little split toes to make it easier to climb ropes and stuff.
Well,
Mhm.
yep.
And just for rock climbing in general, too.
Yeah,
hmm Except for Ninja Gaiden. How does anyone get around that ninja village? Nobody knows.
Yeah, I know. I love the Ninja Gaiden series very much, but I have some problems with Ryu's outfit. Not its color, though, because he's a ninja in modern settings. Black actually makes sense for him.
yeah,
Yeah. But all his equipment makes no sense.
At times, yeah, there's a few bits of his equipment go, oh, that's sensible, but the way he throws his shurikens and kunais, I'm just sitting going, no,
yeah.
no.
But
Like,
moving
You're just
on, let's move
you're
on
throwing them without a
to
care in the
the
world.
second Azuma ninja, Ayame.
Ayame.
Now, this is
Then
one of the uniforms, her outfits I like the best from the series, so bear with me on that
Mm.
one. She's actually gone through the most outfits compared to everybody else.
well yeah, because she would be the one expected to go through various evolutionary changes of her outfit.
Yeah. As she ages, she would be different type of infiltration for her standard of beauty.
Well, actually, that's the thing. She has no trade as a Kanoichi.
Well, no. So don't get that mixed up.
No, I'm just
That,
specifying that. I just
Yeah,
want
you
yes,
don't.
but remember, females are not labeled as ninjas. They are automatically labeled as kunichis.
Yes,
That's automatic.
it's just a gender.
Males are ninjas.
The idea of the konoichi being the sexy femme fatale distracting people to get male ninjas were trained in that too. It
to.
wasn't just a only girls can be sexy to get information or to assassin. If the target was a powerful woman, there were powerful women in feudal Japan, or a guy who was not attracted to women, a male ninja would be trained in the quote unquote konoichi arts to seduce and kill.
Yeah. So both got a lot of training. Is Kunichi was just the automatic
Mhm.
female ninja labeling.
Well,
Yeah.
according to the lore that you were able to put together,
Mhm.
Shuisui had no idea about how to teach any of that, so neither Rikimaru or Ayame had those.
Oh yeah, I mean this is a game. We're just
Yeah.
talking about actual
Yeah.
Oh no, I
ninja
understand. I
lore.
just
Yeah.
for the game wise and
Yeah.
specifications, I
I mean, I gotta bring it up. Think of Wrath of Heaven or Return to Darkness, where the guy is like chasing the girls around the very first mission, and when he opens the door, Ricky Maru's standing there and just lets this blindfolded corrupt merchant start fondling with his waistband, and then realize it's a guy. That had to be the funniest thing in that whole game. Was the very first boss fight mission.
yeah,
Mhm.
but
But yeah, I can understand the mentor himself not being trained in that art because he probably was only trained in the combat art. But
yeah.
in a real ninja clan, he probably would have gotten at least some
Oh, I fully
basics of it.
agree. I just like I said, I'm just trying to keep within the game lore, just making sure
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
specified. That's
But
all.
at the same time, it is nice they decide to make the female character not the automatic sexy one.
Mm.
Yeah, it was just like, hey, here's a woman. She looks like a traditional Japanese woman,
Yep.
just longer hair, but has it tied up.
Hmm.
We'll make her clothes lighter than Ricky Maru's because she's faster than Ricky Maru.
Yes,
Yeah.
she is the lightweight speedster of the group.
Yeah. She was probably chose herself to focus more on her speed.
Yeah,
So
like
she would go for gear that doesn't interfere with it, and I
She was
like that.
also actually the more talented in learning things. She learned quickly, but she never had to follow through to fully master things.
the one Soul has up right here.
Mhm.
I think this is her first iteration
This is
because
her
she
first
actually
or Wrath of Heaven. I don't remember exactly which one.
Mhm.
no, this is her first because her Wrath of Heaven,
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
the
You're
the
right.
bottom portion was cut off
And
and like
she's
her
wearing
armor actually
the
her
gauntlet like things with the fingerless
yeah,
gloves.
because
That's right.
her shirt actually ended right underneath her breast in Wrath of Heaven. And then she added armor to it in Fatal Shadows. They put like an armor piece over her chest. When I say armor, don't think of heavy armor, just more like a thin piece. I guess that was kind of like your picture. Your picture is the current Ayame.
Yeah, it's kind of one of her better looks, but this was the one I liked that I could find the picture of to get up on art.
Yeah. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
just as we had said earlier, she had went through the most changes.
Hmm. I think also with Fatal Shadows, I think it was had her
Hmm.
worst outfit and look in my opinion.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the one where they decided to put like armor pieces on her. That's why I was talking about how where yours she has that same outfit for the top, but she's got a metal piece over her breast.
Yeah, I mean,
And I was just kind of like, why did you guys decide to throw armor on her now when she's gone through so many games without
I
it?
mean, I kind of like the idea that she has like armor on her gloves, like just to help with her defense a little bit. But
Yeah,
it has to make a certain amount of sense. But yeah, as we were saying, she is the speedster of the group. She also has more of the unique assassinations where she like grabs them and uses her body weight to flip them out of sight and
Mhm.
then stab them with her
hmm
sons. So her animations
yes,
definitely make
her
you
should be the Tontos if I'm remembering the names
Wakasashis.
correct. Wakasagi. Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
'Cause I know other games they called those short ones Tontos.
Yeah, I've heard Tontos and Wakasashi's usually used interchangeably. I don't really know
They
exactly.
might be, but either way,
There is a
we gave
difference,
you
and
both
but it's
names.
not a big deal. So
Oh, okay. So it's like one of those. It's like, eh.
think Tonto as more like a single hidden dagger that was more shorter than that one, and usually was matching material with the sheath, so it all looked like one piece.
Okay, I got you. So say if the handle is blue, then the sheath will be blue.
Yeah, they
kind of
use
makes
more
sense.
blend.
Okay.
Wakizashis oftentimes were the companion piece to a katana, and a lot of times had a guard and everything with it. So it looked just like
Oh,
a,
the sacrificial blade, or if
Usually
the samurai
sacri-
lost their blade, the
Yeah.
samurai had that to
so a
fall
lot
back
of
on.
times they look like now they didn't always, but a lot of times they just look like smaller katanas.
Yeah,
There were exceptions to that, but that's primarily the difference as far as I remember. But there is a
yeah.
difference between a wakizashi and a tanto.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that.
No problem. But yeah, so like I said, game lore wise, she was the quickest to learn techniques, but she never put the work in like Rikimaru did to master them.
which makes sense for a speedy character.
Yeah, they just need the basics and then move on.
Again,
Yeah.
that's
'Cause-
just for lore wise, that has no effect in the actual game.
Yeah,
But like I said, I did like using her because I like watching her unique animation of killing, of using her body weight, because she didn't have Rikimaru's strength as a man. She had to make work with what she had, and she could literally like hurricanrana someone into the shadows to assassinate them.
hmm
It was fun to watch.
Oh yeah, the animations, the kill animations were actually for an old game was really good.
Cool.
Especially when we get into the one character that was Ice's favorite, which we'll get to shortly.
Yes.
Now, this one is Tetsumaru. He made his appearance in the second game as the elder sibling to Rikimaru and Ayame.
Mhm.
While still technically the strength character, he was more of the... He was supposed to take over as clan leader.
Mhm.
But events happened, he fell in love with the grand enemy of the second game and joined her cause after memory loss.
Okay.
So he was literally everything that the master wanted in a successor until shit hit the fan.
Damn hormones.
He
Yeah,
was
pretty
struck
much.
by the love bug.
But
Now, see, he has a traditional outfit as well.
Yes. Well,
Like,
very traditional.
yeah,
yeah, I mean, the chest piece is different, but I'm talking about his lower half.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that
Is
is very.
And I would
Very
I
traditional
would
of a
think that
ninja garb.
his chest is covered by something that's sort of like a chainmail or of some sort.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have their arms exposed like that.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
only
that's-
thing I really don't see here. But gameplay wise, he uses his fist more than he uses the sword. So that's
Yeah.
Hmm.
This is just liberties of like anime style,
Yeah.
where they have ninjas that look
Yeah.
at Ninja Scrolls, where he's kind of wearing baggy outfit,
Yeah.
and his arms are exposed, but he also has like a string that's on his katana that was strong enough to hold him up, even though that string looks like it would snap under any amount of
that
pressure.
should not be doing that. They did not have
Yeah.
fiber wire back then.
No, they did not, and if they did, it would have cut through his hand. But I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
it's anime magic, story magic. You do those things, you can take special liberties.
But then again, like I said, we're also talking about a place that talks about demons and zombies. So
Zombies.
you
Exactly,
had to take
and-
some liberties with shit.
Yeah, you think that's the same thing with Ninja Scrolls, where they fought demons and monsters and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Wait, you're telling me if I visit Japan, I won't be attacked by yokai?
No, you won't. I'm sorry.
Sweet, safer. I just worry about being stepped on by giant robots or Godzilla.
You might get stepped on by a robot because they have those now. So.
Or Robot Godzilla.
Yeah, that too.
I
But you
mean,
don't have to worry about yokai and Onis coming
No,
after
and
you.
if you
You'll
go
be
to
fine.
Tokyo, we'll find Ghostwire Tokyo.
Tokyo, yeah, or Tokyo Ghoul.
I have not watched that yet. I should.
But,
First season's the only one worth watching.
I don't think
I watched like the first episode. I gotta get back into that, but I
Yeah.
digress.
Let's move on.
So the other thing is that Ayame had a huge crush on him,
Mm.
and she's the one that kills him, and then gives the Izuyoi, the traditional sword of the Azuma clan, to Rikimaru to take over as clan leader.
That's how he got that blade.
Mm-hmm. What happened was in the first game, Rikimaru goes to fight the head honcho of the Burning Dawn or whatever the hell it's called.
Mhm.
Ayame meets up with Tetsumaru. Tetsumaru refuses to go back, and they fight. Ayame kills him, picks up the sword, and gives it to Rikimaru. and they leave. And then at the grave of Tetsumaru, Ayame says that she is going to go work for Lord Goda and look after Kiku, the princess. And Rikimaru says he's going as well to do their duty.
Yes.
And that's where that game ends off.
Now, trivia time.
Yes.
Now, this is actual real world. Who was the best ninja whom has no death date?
Oh, I actually don't know that one.
Not a clue, because it's probably someone I can't think of.
He's used in many games. He is used in anime.
Sasuke?
No.
Jiraiya?
No. Hanzo Hattori.
Hanzo, of course.
Honestly, I do not hear about Hanzo as much as those first two.
Yeah, Hanzo actually, because he served under Ishikawa.
You know what my second guess would have been? Goemon.
Come on.
Now you talk about
Ieyasu, excuse me. He served under Ieyasu Tokugawa. That's when you remember, if you watch a lot of the old movies and whatnot, and even some anime, you always hear about the Tokugawa government and how samurai swords were outlawed. Well, Hanzo was a ninja that served under Lord Ieyasu, who eventually took over Japan after I forget his name. I know his name too. The current lord had died after he unified all of Japan, and I'm kicking myself because I don't remember him. Because no, Nobunaga died at the hands of Mitsuhide Akechi, his loyal retainer.
Oh yeah, that's
And
right.
then the other guy, which I'm mad I'm drawing a blank.
Hideyoshi?
Yes, Hideyoshi. Hideyoshi Toyotomi. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
He took over for Nobunaga and said he would get revenge and he would finish what Nobunaga started.
You want to know how I actually know that name?
Huh.
Thank you, Neo 2.
Yeah, Neo. He's in Neo 2 and he's in Samurai Warriors. But Hideyoshi, because Hideyoshi actually had another name, and then he later switched it to Hideyoshi Toyotomi. Well, after he unified Japan and killed Mitsuhide for his betrayal in the murder of Nobunaga, Ieyasu Tokugawa had submitted to Hideyoshi because nobody could beat him. Well, he got sick and died, and that's where Ieyasu took over. But he already had Hanzo Hattori, in his ranks. Well, there was a little history that was discovered, I want to say in 2015, 2016. Somebody found some scrolls that talked about Hanzo. And they've come to find out his whole clan was named Hanzo Hattori.
That makes sense.
So if you killed one and all of a sudden another one popped up, it made it seem like he was immortal, an unkillable ninja.
Yeah, there's lots of stories of
Yeah.
And he,
like that.
so if you go to like Wikipedia's and whatnot, they have question on his death date.
Yeah.
Because they don't know. Now they know there's a whole village named that. So
Yeah.
who knows who the original one was?
Yep. He could have been the first one to die, or he could have been the 13th one to die.
But
Yeah. There's a little trivia that was
getting
I
back
found
on track,
interesting.
but that was actually very interesting.
It was.
Now we have
My
Ice's
man.
favorite character. And he is one of my favorite characters as well. He was fun.
Yes, I forget his name, but he is Teshu. Thank you. He is a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. He looks like he's about to start breakdancing.
I know, right? He looks like he belongs in Yakuza.
Yes,
I do apologize. This is the best picture I could find of him.
No,
it's fine.
It just looks like to me he's about to start breakdancing on a Yakuza fight.
In the Yakuza game.
I would just like to
you
say
gotta
he's
learn
got
his skill.
very well manicured nails for a guy that lives in ancient Japan.
And who works on your nails? But so this guy, you had to beat Wrath of Heaven, Return the Shadows, with both characters. You had to beat it with Ayame and Rikimaru.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you would unlock him. And you'd run through his. He doesn't have as many stages to run through.
No.
But
he's also the strength type.
yes, he is your strength character. Now, what made him amazing? He doesn't have any of the gadgets the other characters have. None of it. As you can see in the picture, he has no melee weapons. He has no hook to go up buildings. Nothing. You have to find your way around the stage with him. I think, no, after you beat the first stage, I think they give him a hook then.
He does have one ability I know he has for sure.
Yeah,
He makes animal noises to the guards are less likely to go looking for him.
yeah.
With
That was
Rikimaru,
that was his thing.
yeah, if Rikimaru Yama had to use an item to do that with, he had as an ability.
Now, the thing with him though is what made me fall in love with him is his assassinations. Because the
Yes.
game would go into an X-ray as he kills them, whether it be snapping their
Oh.
neck, pushing a needle through the back of their neck,
Mm-hmm.
any type of thing, breaking their spine. It always did a quick X-ray flash, and it
Did
was
he?
amazing.
Okay, breaking the spine. All I can think of is him pulling a Bane.
Yeah,
Hitting him,
yeah. Kind
smash
of just
them
like
out.
lifts them up and
My favorite one was the needle in the back of the neck.
the needle in the back of the neck was amazing. Because they would be floundering around, and then the X-ray would show up, and you see the needles go, and then they're dead.
God.
Now, what's funny though is, as I said before, every character does the same first level. The first level is universal for everybody.
Mhm.
It's just the ending is different
Mm-hmm.
from Ayame and Rikimaru to him, because they kill the target, they get the whistle for the bird information, and then they move on. This guy, when he kills the target, Rikimaru's coming in to kill the target.
Yep.
Oh Lord.
This guy leaves, and Rikimaru sees the dead body, and Rikimaru's like, huh, somebody beat me to the punch, or beat me to the target. And then the camera kind of pans off the direction that guy went. So it was nice that it actually changed the story a
Nice.
little bit. But like I said, he had the least amount of missions out of all the characters. I think he had like three
Mm.
missions, three or four. It wasn't a lot because he wouldn't have to be dealing with demons or anything like that.
Yeah.
So he stuck with human missions.
And if you got the Grandmaster rank with all the characters, you unlock the side B for all the dialogue.
Yeah,
And if I remember right, like I said, a lot of this don't quote me on, but I think he was looking for his lover or something like that.
something like
Like there's
that. Yeah,
some bizarre shit going on
yeah.
with that.
His whole reason is nothing to do with what's actually happening. Which is funny because you heard of the Tenchu clone game that came out not long after Fatal Shadows.
Uh
Red Ninja.
oh yes.
Oh.
It was not a great game by any stretch of the imagination. But if you wanted stealth and you were clamoring for it, it was a nice go-to game. Now that you played as a sexualized Konichi.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
She was taught in the way of seduction to kill her targets. So one of the funny things with her is if you wanted to say you wanted to bring a guard over and kill them. Now she goes through two outfits in the game. One of them is the traditional
Kimono.
kimono. Thank you. Kimono, wide open, part of her breast showing, panties showing, but she would kind of lean out and go whistle at the guard and like rub her leg and go up her body, and then do like the hand come here gesture, and the guard walks over, and as the guard jumps at you, you have to hit the assassination button, and she'll quickly whip right behind them and slit their throat. But that game too, you fought otherworldly beings. Like one chick had the power of wind and all this crazy stuff. I never finished it. I got to like the last stage.
I've
And
heard of that
then,
one. I've seen some gameplay, but I never actually managed to get a hold of it.
yeah.
I probably just gave it the most favorable review I've ever heard of it.
Well, I gave it that because if you want to make someone interested, you kind of tell them the good bits.
It's kind of
Yes.
depends on what you're looking for. Also, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
no, what I'm
Yeah.
just saying is I've heard of it, but most people did not recommend it.
They usually don't because you can tell where it was biting off of.
Yeah.
And the combat was worse than this game. But it was still manageable. But you didn't really want to. That game, you did not want open combat just like these. These games, you could survive it for a degree.
Mm-hmm.
That game, if it was more than one soldier, you're dead. You're just not going to survive the encounter.
Yeah, I think because
So
they also
you spent
understood
more
when
time
you
running
first
away.
time you're doing the missions, you were going to get caught. There was almost
Yeah,
no.
you were still learning. Like if I went back and fired this up on my PS2 emulator right now, I'd probably get my ass kicked because I'd have to relearn how to play the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
no,
they
Red
also,
Ninja.
but they
it's
managed survivable so that you can come back and do it better the next time.
fine. Yeah, or if you get away from the guards long enough, they will give up pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's definitely kind of like Metal Gear Solid, The only other game that does it slightly, they do it better now, is Hitman. They didn't do it so well back then.
Yeah.
But Red Ninja fell into that same thing. The enemies found you, you can run away and kind of hide and let it die down and then reattempt. The only problem with that, if I remember correctly, the seduction wouldn't work the second time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Then it relied on you to actually kill them.
That makes some sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, it wasn't a great game, but if you wanted stealth and you beat this and the other games, that was a smaller alternative to go to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But there's not much more known about Tenchu because he only appears in this game, and that's really about it as far as I know of.
Yeah, that was it. He was just thrown in there that, hey, here's a character to have fun with.
Yeah.
And then once you had your fill, you move on.
So
Which really just meant you replaying the first mission because that was the best mission to use him on.
this, as we said, talked about earlier, is Rin.
Ren.
Now, I swear she looks far younger than she actually is.
Yeah,
She's, if I remember correctly in the game, I want to say she's like 15, 16.
She looks a little younger to me, but then again, it's time era and
She looks younger, but I want to say they say her age in the game, and
again,
you find out
like I said,
for a long time.
Yeah, her
that
game was
it
what
an
I never
arranged
actually
marriage.
got into. So
Yeah, I beat it. I did not like using her at all. I mean, she had some cool abilities, but they were not like Rikimaru, Teshu, Ayame. Hell,
Yeah.
I would take the Chicken Red Ninja over it.
I was more of a fan of the first one or the third one, to be honest with you, because the first one just
Yeah.
kind of was the first one I ever played, so it has a bit of nostalgia feel to me.
Yeah.
And the third one, like I said, I think it's the best out of all of them.
Oh yeah, Wrath of Heaven / Return of the Shadows is by far the best one of the games.
Sounds
Rin, like I said, I didn't really care for it. She has the katana, as you see. She has some abilities that she can use. I want to say one of them. I want to say she has like the spikes that you throw on the ground.
The call drops?
Yeah, the call drops. I want to say that's one of her abilities, which is funny because they put those in Fallout 4 in the DLC.
Well, you see, in
surprisingly.
the other games, they were just items that you could get with the other throughout the
Other
game. I
characters.
didn't use them much, but
I used them if I was being chased because that's what they were meant for.
Yeah.
Is when you're being chased, you throw them down.
I just
Which,
I might have used them at the start when I first started playing the game, but at a certain point, I just stopped needing them because I played it so often.
yeah, once
So-
you get the better stuff, you get rid of them.
Yeah.
They're just no longer needed. Unless you just want to laugh at the enemy as they're bouncing up and down, holding their foot. But,
my toe.
Yeah. She had a few other things. She's slower than Ayame. She's slower. She's not as strong. It's her. She relies more on the sword techniques. Even her stealth is decent, but she kind of does. She kind of does like Rikimaru with her finishers. She just kind of runs you through, and then that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
makes us make.
Yeah, like I said, Rikimaru was the standard ninja, and the quickest way to kill somebody was to run them through with your sword and leave them there.
Yeah, she does the same thing. And as you can see, her katana is on her hip because even though she's using the straight katana, it's still slightly longer than she is, as far as where being on her back would be. I never understood the fox mask. I never understood why she had it. It was never explained in the game. It was just.
I was going to ask if that was maybe like a family heirloom or something like that.
It might have been. It might have been.
Maybe it's just a lucky charm.
It could be a lucky charm, or it was just design choice. I mean, look at her outfit.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying that to make fun of her. I'm just saying you look at her outfit. It was kind of like, okay, here's a kimono. Here's some shorts because you are a underage character. Here's some arm guards. All right, go out on your way.
I mean, I can only think of two reasons for the mask. One is to have something to try and hide her identity. Or two, it's kind of like a family heirloom of some sort. Because the Kyubi or nine-tailed fox or a fox in general...
Kitsune.
Kitsune,
Yeah,
that's
Kitsune.
right.
Kyubei. Really, Soul? Kyubei.
Don't start with me. I will come over there. I will punch you.
I like this Kyubei. I might use it. Kyubei. Kyubei, it is you again.
Jeez, okay, that sounds like you're trying to do a Metal Gear.
But foxes in general were known to be guardian spirits for
And
in
trickster
Japan.
spirits, and yeah.
Guardian
So,
spirits, trickster spirits, as well as spirit guiding spirits.
so a perfect thing for a ninja.
Yeah, a lot of ninjas do associate with foxes for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
See,
thought
I'm
maybe
more
it
of a
was
wolf
something
guy
like
myself.
that. So, but at least she shows she has pouches on her, unlike
Yes.
everybody else.
Yes.
My problem is not her over design, although I wish her kimono was a little bit longer, is where is she camouflaging for?
She doesn't. Like that's the thing. It just didn't make any sense. Like
Yeah.
everyone else, her outfit. This is her outfit the entire game. She doesn't even get a outfit change in the game. This is her.
Yeah.
And like I said, her whole story is to kill her fiance. That's her whole story. Like she doesn't care about anything else going on in the world. It's just I'm here to kill this man, and that's all there is to it. And then when you do kill him at the end of the game and she runs him through, he says some dialogue. And of course she does the
Yeah.
eh,
So
yeah, it was I don't know what they were thinking with this game. I mean then again it was made by Sega, so there you go.
Well, from the looks of things, published by Sega. I'd say.
yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like this is where it started going downhill, and the last one just kind of
Yeah.
Yeah, that this
Like I
nail in
said,
the coffin.
yeah.
I
So
believe that's why they did Sekiro, is they wanted to kind of revitalize it.
Mhm.
this is Lord Tenrai, the first villain of Tenchu 1. And really, that's about it. He just wanted to take over the world using demons.
Standard story.
Yeah.
That's never gone wrong for anyone at all. Isn't that right, Dr. Eggman?
Actually, technically, it's worked for Eggman.
Usually he just loses control of them after a little bit, though.
No, by comic standards, he still
No.
owns 90% of the world.
Oh, yeah, by comic standards, no, but by every game,
Yeah, no, he has no grip.
Yeah.
only when he had gripped on it took
So-
two Eggman to control that demon.
Yeah, Yeah,
He's
he
just
just
a
demons.
typical villain that's saying, "Oh, I'm going to use this evil people to do evil building and do evilness and take over the world." Like I said, this is not a complicated story. This isn't Metal Gear.
you thought it was me, but it was I, Lord Dio, all along.
God damn it, Dio.
Get out of here.
Like, go get beat up by Jotaro or something.
We're expecting Liquid Snake to reveal what he's one of us.
Oh God. Okay, who here had recently had an arm replacement?
You know,
Yeah.
that's my problem with Metal Gear Solid. How did no one not realize that Liquid and Master Miller look the same?
Or sound the same, or
Same,
that
yes.
Master Miller was coming from inside the base the whole time.
Yeah.
That's the part I can buy the look-alike thing and the sounding alike, but why did no one check his location for this?
I'm
call
just
was coming
picturing
from?
now he's talking and Snake just hears him in the next room.
There's a lot
Master
of
Miller, it
comics.
sounds
That
like you're
make,
coming from
Yeah,
the next
there's
room.
always jokes with that.
there's a lot of comics that make fun of him, like quickly having to run around in disguises.
I like the one where it's like they're sitting there talking on codec, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, and we have Master Miller here." And he's like, "I love Alaska. I mean, I love being out here in the tropical islands."
Master Miller, your communication's so clear. It's like you're in a stall next to me.
They always made that the joke because that's the joke of the game. Like
Yeah.
when Gray Fox calls you, they're like, "Yeah, that short burst radio came from within inside the base," but Liquid nobody bothers to check, or Master
Nobody-
Miller nobody checks it.
Yeah. Oh, you can't. Master Miller is totally on our side. It's not like he was once part of another organization that worked for Big Boss.
Exactly. No.
Who would
Alright,
ever
who's the
make you
next
think
fella?
that?
Who's the next Fault Soul?
This
Goes next poor Saf.
is, again, I apologize for the poor picture, but this game
Why
is
does
like,
she have boob armor?
I mean, boob armor is an actual thing, but it usually involves the rest of the torso armor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, lady. I mean, and not only that, like, Mace. The most important part is wide open.
Yeah.
where the heart would be is
Yeah.
wide open.
Actually, that reminds me of why ninjas always sleep on their left side, is to make it harder to stab them in the heart.
Yeah.
Like looking at this, it's like okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, for sex appeal, sure. If that's what they were aiming for with this character, mission accomplished.
Well, she is a Kanoichi, so that might have been part of the idea.
Might have been, but all I can think of now is a samurai. What samurai are actually more known for their archery skills than katana skills, would just be right on his horse and go, "I'm going to end this entire conflict on my own."
Yeah, this is Lady Kagami, the main villain of the second game. Leader of the burning whatever the hell it was.
The burning bush.
Jesus?
But no, like she has.
Oh,
What's funny? 'Cause she
God.
has the long katana. She has a standard samurai katana.
I'm sorry, Soul. This reminded me of the village in Japan where Jesus went to, according to the villagers.
Oh God.
Okay, Ice knows this story, so I'm not going to repeat it right now. That'll be later for Soul.
Yeah, we'll save that for later. But yeah, she uses more of a Taichi, I think it is, the slightly longer version of the katana.
Yeah, she's
I-
almost running around with the odachi.
Yeah, I think
The
it's
great
called a
katana.
Taichi. I could be wrong on that one, but
Yeah, it's almost. She almost has the great katana.
because the first katana was not actually called a katana. I think it was like a Taichi or some sort of name.
Something. Yeah, I think you find out the names when you play Way of the Samurai because they actually have the names of them because
Yeah.
the various sizes of them.
But she actually finds the memory lost Tetsumaru, nurses him back to health, and those two fall in love, and he just joins her cause. And she just wants ninjas to be in the light instead of always being in the shadow, being overlooked. Because that's going to work
Essentially,
out well.
she just wanted to be a samurai.
Pretty
Pretty
much.
Yeah. Although, I guess she couldn't afford the full armor.
You know what? You know what it was. You know what it was.
Hmm.
Her family had her in prostitution, and then somebody hired her to be an assassin. It worked out, and she favored that person and loved samurais being out in the open, showered with gifts, and she wants it.
Hmm.
I mean, look at her. She's screaming samurai.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
really is.
I mean, she
Well-
really did not do anything ninja-like as far as I remember in the game.
I'm trying to figure out how the hell did they make that color purple?
Yeah, purple's actually a very difficult color to make in medieval times. In fact, that's why purple was associated with royalty in the European nations.
Yeah, and usually it was silks.
Well, you see,
Yeah, purple's a very rare color
I
to make.
don't remember they
even
ever
now.
gave details about her backstory, but I can imagine.
Oh yeah,
that
this is
she-
just simple nitpicks. You know,
Oh,
this is just
God.
simple. Nitpicks.
Well, no, I'm just
Other-
saying, like, if you add that all together, it could almost be like she took it from someone. Like the story matches up. She took that from like a noble family because it's
Yeah, I
what she
suppose.
wanted.
not that look.
Well, no, she took it and it wouldn't fit her, so she tried to modify it, and she's not very good at metallurgy.
she needs, yeah, she
Well,
needs someone that can
or,
actually do
maybe
things.
like how the purple color is supposed to represent that or something. Like, there's definitely a lot more that they could have done with it. But then this was a PlayStation 1 game, and
I mean,
this
obviously, but
not the
we're
main
not talking
focus,
about
so
we're not talking about the story. We're talking about her look.
yeah.
Like out of all the characters, everybody falls in line with traditional Japanese style. You know how they would
Yeah.
look. She is like here's the sex appeal character of the game, which I have
Yeah.
no problem with. I have no problem with that.
No, I don't either, but I
It's
know
just-
exactly what you're saying,
This
and I
looks
agree with you.
very impractical from everything else this game has shown.
Mm-hmm.
And then back here. I mean, yes, this is the second game, not
Yeah.
the other later titles and whatnot. But even the later titles, this never came back up.
Yeah, I think that's also the problem is that this is the second game that has shown that has been. The first game was pretty standard ninja stuff. Nothing really felt out of place, and then wham! Here she is out of place.
Yeah, she stands out like a sore thumb. But yes, you could say with her story, you know, she wants ninjas to be in the light. Then this would work. This is exactly how you know you want to do it. You're wearing a bright colors. I don't know why you're half dressed. Or
Oh, she wants to absorb the light of the sun.
oh, damn it! We were thinking about this wrong the entire time.
She wants to be a plant, not a samurai.
Yeah,
There
she wants
we go.
photosynthesis. God damn it!
Man, she's very pale for that, though. She must have only just started wearing this armor.
You know, she was a vampire in her previous life.
Yeah, okay, there we go. So who's next, Soul?
This is Lord Tenrai, the evil magistrate from the third game.
Yep.
Same thing as the first guy,
Summon demons to do his bidding.
pretty
Ah.
much. I was
Only
summoned.
he's using season 2 Yu-Gi-Oh rules for summoning. Got it.
Yeah, he's. I
Yeah,
think he was also the demon magistrate that the first guy was trying to summon in order to absorb and be the ultimate demon lord.
yeah. He just forgot the Monster Reborn.
That's what
Yeah.
it was.
Like I said, it's nothing out there. It ends up with you fighting. The only real difference is in 3, there's one way to actually have some different dialogue and choice in the game.
Mm.
Is if in 3 the Izuyoi gets broken, and you can have a choice between having it fixed with some special materials or with Lord Mayo's sword, the Shishio, and had that used as a supplement material to fix the Izuyoi. And it changes some story in there. Nothing major, but it's a nice little touch.
Yeah, it actually kind of, back when they were emphasizing an actual difference,
Mm-hmm.
but it still doesn't affect the overall game. But it's like,
No.
hey, it just changes headcanon lore now for the rest of
Yeah.
the games.
So it's just nice flavor to it. Kind of. This monstrosity is the
Who
person that
looks
goes.
like he belongs in Blade to be cut down.
To be
Either
fair, I
that or
think this
he's
is his last look. I could be wrong on that one.
either he belongs in a Kiss tribute band.
Yeah, this is Onikage. He is the body hopping that, which makes a lot more sense considering the fact everything he's lived through.
Hmm.
But he pretty much has a hard on for Rikimaru because Rikimaru is one of the first few people to ever actually kill him, or at least his first version of him.
Yeah.
And remember how I said that Yame goes through a lot of clothes?
Yeah.
He does it more often than bodies.
Hey,
So
I see.
just jumping bodies is like peeling off a banana. That's all. Let me cast away this. You know what? I don't feel like being pale today. I want to be a little darker vampiric tone. Hey, you over there. Yes? Shape.
Oh
I
man,
am you now.
I can't reach the top shelf. Oh yeah, slightly taller guy.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, wait, that person's 6'5". I'll take them over.
yeah,
Oh,
Fuck
he.
you.
I want to ride in the kiddie rides again.
But
Ooh,
yeah,
like a child.
after he got beaten by Rikimaru in the first game, well, technically his second game, but
Technically.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He just had it in for Rikimaru. Like it was almost as bad as Wesker with the Chris.
Ah, that level of hate boner.
Yeah,
Actually, I don't even call that a hate boner anymore. They're
at
just
this
in
point
love
that's
with
just
each
a
other.
boner with those two. But this one, at first it was the hate boner, and by the time it got around to what I say the last game was, where he possesses Ayame.
Assassin Shadows or whatever.
Yeah, I think at that point it was the boner. I think that's why he went on Ayame's body.
Hmm.
He works out.
But I mean, it was nice to have them have a villain that was more focused on the actual two ninjas rather than just focusing on real conquest and ignoring the two people that are trying to stop them. So he was at least a nice guy to have the villain say, "Hey, go kill these guys. You'll enjoy it." In a certain sense, from the Mega Man standpoint, it felt like he was supposed to be the dynamo of the group.
Ah.
But yeah, he just got way too creepy for that.
Hmm.
Like he knew who Ayame was, he just didn't give a shit about her.
Well, I mean, she wasn't a threat to him. Rikimaru was the threat. He killed him.
Yeah,
I mean, that does scale.
It's like Xenos to the Warrior of Light in 14.
There are other scions.
yeah, pretty much. That's how it went.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wait, who are these people? Instant knockdown, blow away ability. You're my prize, my friend. Oh God.
I mean, the first time he was like the blue bird or blue jay of the burning dawn or whatever,
Hmm.
and then when you meet him a second time in technically the third game, because I don't think he was in the first game. Ricky Moore had no idea this was him. Like he really did not care.
I want
Dude,
to
I don't-
say he was the one that sent him in another dimension, that sent him to the present.
Actually, no, that was what happened when you fought after the cave in.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He went back to the portal and jumped through.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, did they ever explain how Ricky Morrow comes back to the past? Did he have to
Um,
trick Aku's daughter into doing it?
well, actually, that's where the Izuyoi comes into effect. It resonated with the portal and summoned Rikimaru back.
Oh, okay.
So the Izuyoi, I think yes, okay, here it is the legendary ninja sword of the Izuma clan, with mystical properties that, while seemingly overpowered, really don't come into gameplay that much. So it's kind of a nice little thing like that.
Hmm.
It's not like the Dragon Blade, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, it just looks like a normal sword, but it opens portals to other periods apparently when it wants to.
Hey, they just had to write in something. I mean, you think they were building this sword up and saying this is a very important sword, only the select person gets it. So it makes sense they had to write something for it. I mean, you think of the sword from Ninja Gaiden that was strictly made to cut down demons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you can kill people with it, obviously, because you do, but it was also strictly made to cut down
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
yokai and
I'm actually
onis.
kind of glad that none of the supernatural powers had anything to do with the gameplay because I felt that would have ruined it in a
yeah.
sense.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, like I was saying with the Dragon Sword, it doesn't really. It has supernatural powers. It's for gameplay, but along the lines of it just lets you fight these things. It's not like shooting out kamehamehas
Yeah.
when you
Yeah,
slash,
and
which
that
is
was yeah. Go ahead.
how I like the Dragon Sword. It got sharper when you attached the special stone to the bottom of it. That was
Mm-hmm.
it.
That was it.
And it's implied that nobody else can really fight fiends. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's why you gotta use a sword to fight these fiends. All right, plot hole resolved.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
one
it's
it
like
has some supernatural powers, but the most it's ever done was pull Rikimaru back from the future, as far as I recall.
So it's a much less efficient Master Sword. Got it.
Yeah, pretty much.
pretty much. I mean, that's what I liked about Parasite Eve was you had Mita's gun at the end of the game, which it did absolutely nothing. It was just a regular old handgun until you got his bullets at the end of the game. Then it's like, oh my god, this thing is like a god slayer.
Oh yeah, I remember your playthrough. 999, 999, 999.
Yep.
What the hell? Why was he doing this earlier?
Yeah, I was like, I should have been used this thing.
But but yeah, that like I said, I just enjoyed the fact that while it did have supernatural lore, it was profane as a legendary weapon. It just didn't do that much in game. Most of the things it did legendary were outside of main combat.
Yeah, it's legendary, as in it's just fairy tales until it does actually one thing.
Yeah.
When it decides to.
Now these
Yeah.
are the best representation of Ayami's wakizashis, but they feel more streamlined than what a wakizashi should be.
Mm.
But then again, these are her ninja weapons. They should be streamlined. They should be able to be more hideable. So, from the standpoint of the game, I like these.
Yeah.
They're small, they're compact, they're easily hideable, but they're sturdy, they're sliceable, and they stab well.
No, I mean, I would say we didn't even need to show them because they do nothing besides kill.
Now,
There's not like Ricky Maru's blade where it actually does do
I
something.
just like showing off the two weapons.
Could have picked a better one, man. Come on now, look at this. Look how terrible it is.
Oh,
Like cardboard cutouts.
well, here's the deadliest thing in the entire game.
Oh, that damn rice ball.
So, along with caltrops, smoke bombs, the blow dart that was mentioned earlier, and a few other toys you can play with, this is actually one of the deadliest items you can use in the game, and I will explain why. If you take up high position, press him against the wall, and throw this around a corner, the guard will come and pick this up to eat it. If you time your assassination to just before he eats it, he will drop it, allowing you to reuse the rice ball. You can literally, with one rice ball, clear out an entire castle if you time it right.
I don't know why anyone else would eat that rice ball though.
I don't
Also,
know either, but it
are they
works.
just like swallowing it whole?
I don't know, but if you time it just before they eat it, they will drop it and you can reuse it. So with one rice ball, you can clear out an entire castle, no matter how many people there are.
Think of this as the porn mag in Metal Gear.
Yeah, pretty much.
Except for this is just reusable and you don't have to find it again.
You can just literally pick it up right where it dropped.
which I gotta say, it's also the world's strongest rice ball because it drops and it doesn't break apart.
Yeah, it's almost like a rubber ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, the car drops. You can just drop behind you in case someone's chasing you. You can get away easier. Blow dart. You can put people to sleep. There's even a bow and arrow you get in the third game. Give me a second. Trying to think if there's any other tools anybody can think of.
I mean, it's just the standard tools. I mean, you got
Yeah.
the hook to get around
The
and whatnot.
shurikens.
Yeah, standard ninja stuff. Anything anybody that plays a ninja game or
Yeah, I
watched a
mean they
ninja
really
show
did keep it
sees.
to. It's gonna the general generic ninja weapons used pretty well, so it wasn't anything too.
Wait, so no turtle blimp?
No.
No,
Damn.
we didn't have a turtle van either.
Well, no one likes the turtle van. The blimp is cooler.
They also, I think in the later games they had smoke bombs.
Handy.
Not
Yeah,
sure
you
if they were in the
did.
first one.
Which they did a better job than Metal Gear Solid. Because Metal Gear Solid, you throw a smoke bomb and you run into it, you just bounce off of it and stop. And I'm like, wait, you can literally run through this. It's meant to be ran through and cover your tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the smoke bomb. Although by MGS5, they managed to make the smoke so good that if you throw a smoke grenade into your car, then start driving with the car, the guards can't see the car anymore. They just see the smoke.
Which makes 0 sense, but hey, it works.
What's even more funny is you can do that with a D-Walker.
I know.
All
You
right.
think somebody would
So
question that?
No.
as I was saying, discuss because we've had a few attempts at a more of a potentially game in the last couple of years. I would say
Yeah.
Sekiro was the first mention. I would have thrown the hat was Ghost of Tsushima.
No, because that guy was a samurai.
No,
He
well,
was
no,
not a
hear
ninja.
me out. I'm talking about the mechanics in the game, with the stealth mechanics and the options you had to go about with the assassinations. I think they could have been very useful if they were to make a modern Tenchu game.
Yeah, but I would say no because Metal Gear, you did the same thing. It's minus a sword and a bow and arrow. You had guns, but you still did the
Yeah.
exact same thing. That's why I said no.
Yeah.
And that game was out and out samurai.
Yeah.
Sekiro, you are a ninja.
Yeah. I get what Soul's trying to say, and I get what you're trying to say, so I'm just going to sit here in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, I just
But
saying the other thing is that
as someone who's not really played the franchise, I would greatly like a chance to play a seriously done, well done ninja-based stealth game because I love stealth games. It's what attracted me to the Arkham Asylum game and made me love the Arkham games as one of my favorite trilogy of games. I love the Hitman franchise. I love the Metal Gear games. It's just I wasn't able to hear about these games until the franchise was essentially forgotten about.
yeah, unfortunately. But if
That
you ever
that is the sad thing.
do manage to find a copy of it, Wrath of Heaven is definitely worth a try.
I will look for it.
Well, as I said, you can get them on emulation,
Mm-hmm.
and if your computer's
I,
strong enough, and play them. I mean,
I
yes,
generally,
it's not the same.
yeah, I generally try to avoid emulation because yeah, I've had a lot of bad experience with emulation. Plus, I just feel a little bit less guilty if I've at least tried looking for the game first. Although if I bump into the game and see it's worth $500, I'm like, well, now I have no guilt.
I mean, hold on. Let me see. Oh, let me see. Let me see. Hold on, give me a second. I will find.
But I'm just thinking a co-op stealth game where much
Hmm.
uh like the thing about the co-op in Ghost of Tsushima is that if as me and you were doing it, if I'm found out, you're still hidden, which could be a very good, cool mechanic to use with that.
Yes.
Um, and then you got the grappling hook system in Sekiro, which was very fast paced and able to get around a lot better. So a combination of that wouldn't be too bad.
Mm-mm.
Um, the thing about it is that I would be a little concerned about the straight up melee combat that would have to be involved in that and for his bosses and stuff like that.
I think that's what really separates this franchise from Ghost of Tsushima. Is Ghost of Tsushima, you easily could just walk into a place and just
Yeah.
cut your way through. Sometimes it was even easier than stealthing your way through,
Hmm.
which options are nice, but sometimes I prefer just stealth.
Yeah. Well, the problem with
Yeah.
Sekiro is that you could also do the same thing almost to a certain extent, just parry everything and
Yeah,
still pull out.
because
But you need more skill with that. I do admit to that
yeah,
one.
that's because they were still going by the Dark Souls
Hmm.
system where
Hmm.
instead of having a sword and shield, you just like you said parry, but the parry can still get you killed by misparrying and so on and
Yeah.
so forth.
Yeah,
All right, so $28 for Tenchu Wrath of Heaven.
yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah. Even if it was the full 50 price, I would say Wrath of Heaven would be worth it.
Then the very first one is 38, and then it just kind of goes into imports after that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're reasonably priced, in my opinion.
I mean, but mind you, this is for U.S. pricing. I don't know if your
Yeah.
area's pricings are different.
Generally at $15.
Generally, F-15,
I
Yeah.
wouldn't still wouldn't consider that too bad though. For the what I
No, I don't. Because
what?
what?
huh?
They want $75 for Fatal Shot. Get out of here!
Look, they played it. They want you to play. They want you. They want some money back.
Oh my god!
But
Oh my god! That's no, no. Tenchu 2, $16.
I would give them 30, but 16 is definitely a bargain.
And the original Xbox version of Return from Darkness is one copy left only, but it's $9.68.
Hmm.
Like I said, this is assuming you have the original hardware to run these.
Yeah.
I don't have original Xbox. I
So
don't get to.
that's just mind you, that's just a quick look. That's not saying,
Yeah.
oh, this is
Well, just based off those prices alone, I would say the majority of them would be worth it, except for that one.
yeah, 75. Oh my god,
Like,
that's
I
ridiculous.
would pay if I found a copy for the original, like say back then the $50 that these would have been priced at. I would still pay that price.
Yeah. Only reason I emulated them is because I owned them.
Oh
I
yeah,
already
that is
paid for these.
completely different, in my opinion. Once you
yeah.
own it, you really should be able to do what you want with it. But
Well, yeah, and
that is a debate for later.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, the funny thing, this isn't the debate. This is actually part of the U.S. law for U.S.
Mm.
I can emulate the games if I already own them. So
I
seeing
don't.
as I,
I do not know as the case up here. It
yeah, that's why I
probably
said that's why I specified U.S.
I wasn't even sure. I
probably
wasn't
is,
even aware
but
that was the law. But thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, there's different they have laws for like say if you do emulate a game you do not own or yeah, a game you do not own, technically you're allowed to use it
oh
for
yes,
24 hours and then you have to delete it.
I do remember actually what caused that ruling to become in the states. You can thank the game genie for it.
Yep. Now if it's still in the books and useful, I do not know, but I know the current law is if you own the games, like you still have the physical games, you can emulate them because you've already paid for them.
Yep.
I'll keep that in mind for anything else I need to play.
Yes. Now the odds of someone knocking down your door and checking.
They're very slim.
I mean, I know you guys have problems with cops down there, but I don't think they're that bad.
They're
But
not. Like I said, the only way for it to be that bad is that's one hell of an operation.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Also, just remembers the UK's terrible "Don't copy that floppy" campaign because the greatest thing stopping computers is copying floppies.
But yeah, I'd like.
Yes.
But if I was going to make a Tenchu game, I'd take something like the mission setup from the Tenchu series.
Yes, I think mission based is that was actually one of my favorite things about MGS5 was the mission based.
Mhm.
The missions started repeating themselves. That's when I had problems.
Take the more movement from Sekiro for the more faster paced movement to get around,
Hmm.
and some of the stealth elements from Ghost of Tsushima, especially if you're going to co-op it. And that's probably where I would be with in the setup with this. Because
Yeah.
I like the idea of being able to co-op, but if I'm found out, you're still in the clear. They would just chase me
Yeah.
because that's all they would be aware of. Now, obviously, they would be more alarmed and be more on the lookout, so you'd be increased chance of being found out. But if you're hidden, they wouldn't immediately find you.
Yes, which means you could easily do the whole one guy makes a big distraction while the other guy just takes care of things.
Mm-hmm.
Also, remember, we're talking about old tech here,
Yeah. Well, I'm
and
talking about what we would want in a modern Tenchu game.
a modern Tenchu game. I'd want both actually. I want a story and I want mission based.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying
Yeah.
they can't have a good story to go along with the missions. I'm just saying keep the missions where you can go back to previous missions with the better items, like the reward system
Yeah.
they had from the previous ones.
And in my opinion, if you're replaying a mission, it should automatically default to you skipping cutscenes because I've played some games with mission based, and every single time it plays the cutscenes.
I
Yep.
I forget if you could skip them in Tenchu.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I
Or
would say
I don't
no, but
remember. I don't remember. It's been so long,
yeah,
but I would say that's why I said I believe Sekiro is them kind of like, hey, we can still do a Tenchu game.
yeah, Tenchu esque, but I think they might have leaned a little too heavily towards
Polls.
yeah, just
But again, though, the problem with From Software, even though with all the success they have been having, they're still getting published out by different companies, and
yeah.
Mhm.
that's where it becomes a
I'm just
problem.
wondering if
I
they even
think
do they even still have the rights to Tenchu?
probably, but
Probably.
it probably just be like most games, it got mothballed.
Yeah,
Yeah. The thing is, if they're not able to self-publish, they have to sell Tenchu to somebody else.
mm,
And one of the problems, which I always hate this, is they'll look at the sales of the last Tenchu game and go, "Oh, that didn't sell." Clearly, the entire franchise is garbage. When it could just be one game made a mistake.
well,
Yeah,
like I said, I think it was the last two that really just kind of
Hmm.
because here's
Now
the thing:
that
they had like 3 cell phone games, a
I'll be right
DS
back.
game that was trash. That was the one where it was like you were placing down traps on like a grid.
hmm.
So it was just like not worth it in my opinion. Um, and a few other odds and ends here and there, but nothing major to speak of outside of the main series. So I think it was just like I said, those last 2 games just really put the nail in the coffin and it just sealed Tenchu's fate, unfortunately. So
My curiosity is piqued, though.
yeah, it's definitely if you were big into say the old school Metal Gear Solid games for the PlayStation 1 and stealth games in general, it's definitely worth a look for the entire series. I would
Hmm.
even recommend if you have some way of playing them yourselves, give it a shot. Um, because I like I said, if you're looking for a huge story like Metal Gear Solid, you're not gonna find it here, but you're gonna find something solid in a lot of categories.
Generally, I prefer my stealth games without much story.
Eh,
The exceptions being the Metal Gear or the Arkham franchise.
then this might be right up the alley for it because the story's light, but it's not non-existent.
Honestly, the more I think about this, the more I kind of wish uh, the Hitman team could get a crack at the Tenchu franchise.
And back.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
opposed to Hitman getting a crack at this.
Yeah.
I
This is-
could see that.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
would be right up
I'm
their
coming
alley,
in late.
honestly.
Coming in late, but I could see that. But there is one downside.
Yes. And that would be.
Their movement.
Oh.
Movement is stiff
Mm,
in Hitman. Like
it
even in the
is.
newer ones, it is
It
still
is.
stiff.
The stiffness is designed around, but I can easily see why someone would not like it.
Mm.
I do have
Especially if
some.
you're doing like a Tenchu.
Yes. Like, I don't want them to use their current Hitman engine. I want them to take ideas from what they have done with Hitman and do Tenchu.
Yeah, I could honestly see a little bit of fun Tenchu using like
I mean, if they did that, all right. So since Tenchu's already sandbox,
Yeah.
sandbox, missions.
Mhm.
As you complete missions, you know go ahead and do your ABC rating or Silent Assassin, Master Assassin ratings. You unlock more gear
Mm-hmm.
and you know give that replayability like Hitman, where you can just keep replaying the stages as much as you want until you get bored with them. And because since they're for some odd reason in love with online, add seasonal events to get newer gear.
Mhm.
You know, I don't like seasonal events, but since I know they're here to stay, you could do seasonal events with them. Uh, Creating your own character, I like creating my own character, but I'll leave that up for debate. You know,
50-50,
I
yeah.
am a sucker for a creative character, so I won't.
yeah, like I want to create my own character, but say they can't. Let's just for some reason, let's just say they can't. Like, hey, we can't do it because the budget's not going to allow for that. You're going to be Ice Yamamoto or Soul or M. That is the character of this game. So be it.
Mhm.
You know, but allow me to do some customization with the look of that character.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe I want to change out his ninja colors, or I want to add something away or take something away, yada yada yada. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Just it could be it could be done. And as I stated in another person's stream, Tenchu, and I don't know if Soul will agree with me or not, but Tenchu's a game that's literally money sitting on the table.
It is. This is something that they could. It really is. How do I want to put this? It wouldn't print money like a lot of other games would.
No, this is not like Capcom sitting on Mega Man levels of stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would definitely pay for itself and then some, in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not going to get mega blockbuster numbers, which, can we stop forcing games to all try and do that?
I know, I just want a game. That's all I want is a game.
In my opinion, if done right, this could be like what Sonic Frontiers was for the Sonic series, in my opinion.
Yes, a fresher breath there that undoes damage.
Yeah, like, and that's the funny thing. Everybody's like, "Oh, Sonic Frontiers sucks." It's like, no, we're not saying it's an amazing game. It's a
I think,
proof of concept game, and I feel that with it being a proof of concept, it did it right.
yes.
And
For
now
me,
it's
it fulfilled all the fantasies I've wanted for a Sonic game since I was a child.
yeah,
And I'm not expecting that to be for everybody. Then literally the
yeah,
only thing it needed, and it's getting with its free updates,
Mm-hmm.
which is Playable Tales.
So I think it'd be a
I'm not
fair
sucking
comparison.
$5.
If done right, this could be almost like an icebreaker for the game to get back into revitalization.
Yes.
yes, and like right now we have Tenchu just sitting on the table,
Yeah.
money waiting to be grabbed. We
And the
have
thing is, it's From Software. They could really push from the creators of.
they could,
Yeah.
they really could.
Mm-hmm.
And
But they
hell, even
also,
if they wanted, they continue from Ricky Maru.
yeah. Or they could use Sekiro as an example of Tenchu and combine the two worlds in a sense.
Yeah.
They could.
In a sort of reboot, because obviously what I know about Sekiro is
It,
very not realistic in
the
places.
only thing I really
mean,
fear of
obviously.
is that unless the game is going to say print money for them,
Mhm.
it just feels like a lot of places just aren't interested. And it's like,
Yeah,
I understand they got to do a little bit more than break even. I'm not saying I don't understand that
yeah.
Yeah.
because
It definitely feels like if something is holding back Tenchu, it's From Software not being able to find a publisher for it.
yeah, it feels like to me at
Which,
this point it's so
hmm,
forgotten that unless it really comes up as a rally point of discussion,
yeah,
we're never seeing another Tenchu game. We
yeah.
might find something
No.
that's like a spiritual successor.
Like, the more I think about this, the more it reminds me of one of my favorite Konami franchises that we're never going to get a fifth game for,
Mhm.
and that's the Boktai series.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
We
that's
got 1 and 2 in
dead and
English.
gone.
1 and 2 in English. 3 never came out in English, which I'm so pissed about because that one looked a lot of fun.
Oh, I forgot
We
there
had
was a
Lunar,
3.
and we had Lunar Nights, which that was actually fairly good for
But
an early DS game.
the
But
closest
yeah,
thing I can think of that's actually out that's going to be a close Tenchu-like game, even though it's more mystical with shadow mastery and everything like that. If you ever heard of the game called Origami,
Yes, I have.
it is a ninja-based game where you actually control shadows to teleport to, sneak around in, and can even be used to hide bodies for you.
Hmm.
And the second one has up to 3-player co-op.
Yeah.
So if you're ever interested in a decent stealth game, I'd actually recommend checking that one out.
Yeah. But this is the problem with a lot of games now. I say games because it is games. They are
Yeah.
games. They are producing Hollywood blockbusters,
Mhm.
Mm,
and they're not making games. Like I said, I have my own personal reasons why I don't like The Last of Us or Kingdom Hearts. I have my own reasons for not liking them. Not saying they're bad games at all,
mm-hmm.
Mm.
but Naughty Dog as a company went from making these amazing games to now there's this one line of game. And it hurts because, Crash Bandicoot, Jack Dexter,
Sly Cooper.
it's like, no, that was Sucker Punch.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
you're right.
Sucker
I'm
Punch,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it, so that's why it wasn't Naughty Dog. I'm sorry, Naughty Dog's never made anything I've really liked.
Yeah. I mean, that's understandable.
I get it, though. They are making cinematic movies.
Yeah,
They
it's
play,
gaming is going from gaming to movie.
and not in the same way Kojima made cinematic movies, although he is still making his weird cinematic movie.
I don't know what he's
Yeah.
doing. He's not my favorite person.
That's totally
Yes,
fair.
I play his products, but I'm not in love with his products.
Yeah,
But
that's reasonable. When I like his stuff, I really like it. When I don't, I'm just sitting there going, "What?"
yeah,
Anybody remember
yeah,
PT?
yeah,
Oh, the things people will do to get PT working on the PS5. It does work.
yeah.
So,
I'm
Tenchu, I'll finish my thought on that.
mhm.
sure.
Tenchu, we now have a plethora of games that can be borrowed from
Hmm.
to do another Tenchu title, or they are in the position to revitalize this game and build it from the ground up better than Sekiro, better than Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah,
You know, they could do this. I mean, even if they have to work with another company temporarily to
Well,
make it happen.
I will say this about FromSoft is they are not an egotistical company. They have worked with many different companies to make their products.
Yeah.
Many different publishers, many different this is the same franchise we've done by 6 or 7 different publishers. I think Armored Core is like 3 of them are released by Sega, and I think
Yep.
3 of them released by Bandai.
and that's finally getting their 6th game.
Yeah, we're getting the Armored Core 6, and I am giddy as a schoolgirl for it because I've been playing Armored Core since the very first one on the
I
PSX.
think I started getting Armored Core around the 3rd one. To be honest with you.
I think I have the first Armored Core on the 360. I think I have that one. I could not figure it out for the life of me.
That's
So
the
now,
one Sega took over.
Mhm. So now that I know someone who actually plays it, I might actually get the next one and ask Ice for advice.
Yeah,
Oh, if they let like 3-player co-op with the 3 of us should work together.
yeah.
That
See,
sounds
they did that with for Answers or Verdict Day
mm,
is when they started doing a lot of the multiplayer stuff. You
Yeah.
had more people, but like Armored Core originally was just a mech simulator.
yes, it was a
Hmm.
simulator, not a mech game.
Yeah, and then once it got to Armored Core 4, it turned into a mech game.
It's old school simulator, not like the current game simulators like Car Wash Simulator.
No, this was you had to you paid for bullets, missiles, damages you've done, so on and so forth. All that came out of your money at the end, your payout at the end of the mission.
Yep.
And if you failed the mission, guess what? The game kept on going. The
Yep.
only way you got a true game over is if you ran out of money and was like negative 100K. Then the game would end.
That's
Mhm.
how I ended my very first mission.
I mean,
I didn't realize there was like collateral damage to the buildings came out
mhm.
of my pocket.
Oh, that'll do it every time.
So I kind of went Godzilla on the buildings.
Yep, and it took all your money
Oh,
plus. Yep, and that was the game. Now,
yeah,
the newer ones, not so much like that. And
yeah.
I miss that. I miss that because it meant you now had to be more careful with how you did battle.
Yep.
Mhm. I think the reason why they probably pulled back on that is because they started making the spaghetti code way too complicated.
I mean, they did, and they wanted to try something new, and four
Mm,
started it.
yeah.
So we're no longer getting Mech Simulator with that. Much as I am happy for this new one, I already know I'm not going to get traditional
Yeah.
Armored Core. Those days are long done and gone. But if they give me something like what's that Kojima one with
Oh,
Jihudi?
Zone of the
Son of the
Enders?
Enders, thank you.
Ah.
They give me something like that. Yo, we talking major business here.
Yeah, that's another. Zone of the Enders is another franchise I want to get into.
Yeah, it's a good franchise.
Yeah, it is.
Both
I.
games are actually good.
Hmm.
Yeah, here's the thing. I've never seen a physical copy in my entire life.
My uncle owns the first one, and my buddy owns the second one, and I own both of them digitally on Steam.
Oh, they're on Steam. I didn't know that.
Yes.
I keep forgetting Steam is a thing. Like I said,
Yes.
I
Steam
don't.
is a thing.
I'm sorry. Whenever I think of gaming on the PC, I think of. Do you ever get the official Sonic 3 and Knuckles for the PC back when the Genesis was still
I
brand
did
new?
actually have it. I did have a copy.
Yeah, how bad that played compared to the Genesis version.
Well,
Yep.
That's how
this.
my brain still registers computer gaming. I still think it's like 4 or 5 steps behind console games, even though I know by now they're either parallel or the PC is technically more powerful. I cannot untrain my brain from how scarred I was with how bad the Genesis and SNES official ports were.
Dude, I played Sonic CD on the PC
Oh, so
before
did
I.
I. Oh,
Yeah.
so did I. Ugh.
Yeah. That
Well,
was a bad. That was a
so
mistake.
this was actually my pick for this week for Tenchu series. Next
Oh,
time
nice.
recording, we're gonna go with one of M's picks, and I don't know what
Bum,
this is.
bum, ba, bum, ba, ba, bum. Ba, ba, ba,
It
ba,
looks
bum.
very familiar.
Bum, bum, ba, bum. Bum, 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 ba, ba, bum. Bum,
Mm,
bum, bum, ba, bum.
Yeah,
mm.
we're gonna have some fun next week. I'm pretty sure we're just gonna do what we did with Tenchu and just do an overview of the series, but we might end up talking long about one or two of the titles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's good games in there. I'm gonna say this right now because I don't know if you guys are gonna have me on or not. I'm gonna air it out right now, so it's out there in the ether. I do not like that they switch Link from left-handed to right-handed.
Thank you, thank you,
Always my
thank you.
argument. Always my gripe.
There's only one game I'm okay with it, and that is the Wii version of Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was left-handed on the GameCube version, right-handed on the Wii version.
And left-handed again on the Wii U version, unless you're playing on Hero mode where they flip the map.
Yep.
It's he's also right-handed in the Skyward Sword, but as I think
So, yeah,
Skyward Sword is technically the worst Zelda game,
it
I don't care.
is.
I don't care if that one. The only two Zelda games I think are comparable to it are the first two, and that's because they have aged like yogurt.
But yes, I am left-handed, so
Yep.
I am tickled pink when I get characters and heroes that are left-handed, and then
I
when
am
that is taken from me, I am angry.
I am not left-handed, but I prefer left-handed Zero and I prefer left-handed Link because it just makes them stand out more.
Yeah. So it's out there now. So even if I'm not here, I got it out.
Well,
You
we
know
might
what?
invite you again for this one. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm always down for having you. We'll see how things go. If not, we'll just
Christ,
invite
at
you
this point, I
for.
might have to add your name to the title list.
Yeah,
I
I
thought you
wouldn't
had
be.
other people.
We do have other people; they just haven't been available. But if we do add you for the Zelda episode, we're definitely bringing you on for Skyward Sword. So I have someone to rant with about it.
Yes, I did not like it. And like I just got a Switch, so I
Hmm.
want to get the other one that's already been out for a while, and they've got the second one coming out.
I'm just gonna say this: Breath of Wild is magnificent. It's not my personal favorite, but it finally dethroned my third favorite. It knocked Link to the Past down from third to fourth, and it has been there
Nice.
since Twilight Princess came out. And I'm gonna say this: Twilight Princess is my favorite, and I
Twilight
could.
Princess was amazing. I love the
I'm
dark
going to say Twilight
storyline.
Princess was my favorite as well.
I
Mhm.
love the dark storyline. I like
Well, because
now.
there's
I like
you know what? On second thought, we have to invite Ice for Twilight Princess because you're a Wolf fan.
yes, I am. So Wolf
Oh,
Link all the way.
I suggest you find the Twilight Princess amiibo because then you could have Wolf Link help you out in Breath of the Wild.
Oh, I'm getting that. So done. So done.
If you actually beat with the amiibo, the
Yeah, if you do a special dungeon in the HD Wii U version of Twilight Princess, he gets more buffs in Breath of the Wild.
you
Oh
have like
wow.
30 hearts when he comes to help you. Mine only has
Uh,
3 because I didn't get through it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I speed run from a friend of mine because he was having troubles with Breath of the Wild, so I sped run his amiibo through my HD Twilight Princess, and then he had an easier time at the beginning.
Oh
Mm.
wow.
I never
Yeah.
died that much
Like
in
even
the Legend
just
of
3
Zelda here.
hearts, the wolf is pretty useful.
Oh yeah, he'll find food for you.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's good.
That's what's up. Like I said, I'm a sucker for wolves. It's an obvious
I
thing. And
never would have guessed, really.
yeah, yeah,
No. He clearly just likes the name, the Danger Trio.
exactly.
Trio of
Which is
Danger.
like the worst name you could have for a group.
What? I thought it was intimidating.
But
There was
yeah, before we
nothing
keep
intimidating like
rambling on
that.
even more, because
Yeah.
God help
Yeah.
us.
So yeah, me and Soul will do Legend of Zelda, and when we get to the two on the Wii, we'll probably invite you, Ice.
Hmm.
Sounds good to me. Like I said, I appreciate you guys inviting me. I enjoy doing this.
You bring a
That
nice, unique energy to this group, and I
Yeah.
rather enjoy that. And it's also nice to have someone sitting next in digitally space to correct Soul on his weird pronunciation.
I just like having
yes.
another perspective on the show, just showing
How did he
that.
mispronounce Kitsune again? I can't, like, my brain can't register it.
Yeah. So you have a unique way of speaking.
Look, I only
Oh,
speak 3 languages: English, bad English, and sarcasm, and only one of them I'm fluent in. Now kiss
wait,
my ass.
does that fall under bad English?
No, it doesn't fall under bad.
Damn it.
All right, so
Although I have a pick.
Oh,
Yes, I have a pick for
oh,
you
now I'm
guys.
interested. Before we end this,
oh, that's
I don't know if either one of you played it, so if you haven't, it would be a hard one.
and it is.
Front Mission.
I have been trying to get into that franchise. Have not played it, but
okay,
I definitely see the charm to it.
that is the um
Turn base.
turn-based kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics with the mech.
Yes.
It's basically Final Fantasy Tactics, only mecha.
With mechs. Yes.
Okay, because the only one I'm actually
Although
aware of off the top of my head is the one that they tried to turn into like Metal Gear, and it just
Oh,
bombed.
That was Evolve,
oh,
and it sucked.
yes, I have watched 3 different reviews of it because it was such a magnificent train wreck. I had to piece it together. That's what it is.
Yeah, only
But
because
there's
that was
one
such a
that's
train
worse
wreck.
than
That's
that.
the first one that comes to mind whenever I ever hear that.
There's
Mhm.
one worse than that they came out with, and it's the last one.
Oh,
And what was it? Front Mission Survive or something like that. It is the worst one out of all Front Mission titles.
Mhm.
mm.
Like so bad that even when mechs are shooting you and you're on foot, just dodge roll. You can literally dodge roll everything in the game, and you will not be hit.
All right.
All right.
So I'm ending this now before this goes on for another half hour of just us rambling.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.
Guys?
I
Uh-oh.
bet I
I'm
actually
alone.
imagined you all silent before you even said that. That's the
No.
ninja work.